Right, good evening and welcome to Spurs Diehards TTID, our regular Tuesday broadcast. We do broadcast Tuesdays, Fridays and Sundays at the same time. Tonight I've got a good panel, an excellent panel with me, and we're going to do an overview of what the panel think of our first three games. We're going to discuss the Europa League. I've got some news about tickets on that as well. And I've got some other Spurs news for you. So without further ado, we'll start at the bottom. Deji, welcome back. I believe you've been with us once before. Welcome to the show, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I've recovered from the game on the weekend, but actually, having reviewed it again and again, I see a lot more positives than negatives. So yeah, I'm in a good place, and I think our club's in a good place. And to be honest, we just got to let Ange cook, let him keep the work up, and remember what it was like under Conte and Mourinho. That's it.
Right, welcome Kevin back to the show. Kevin, how are you? Kev, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. I'm still having a few tech problems. Yeah, I can. I'm having tech problems again. If you can't hear me.
No, we can hear you.
Ooh. Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
I'm still having tech problems.
I think Kev's in another realm.
I tend to agree with what Desi just said. Be honest with you, over in the three games, I think we've dominated, and we just need to turn possession into goals.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Ian, welcome back again, Ian. How are you?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, I'm fine. Colin from across the pond here. How are you?
Hey guys, doing good. Glad to see everybody here. Some new faces I've never seen, so it's nice to meet some new, Spurs fanatics like the rest of us. So yeah, nice to meet you guys. I'm sure we're in for a good show.
Charlie's back to Holland after his long holiday, and he's been to Germany to watch England. He's been out to Korea to watch Spurs. He's been to Japan as well. I mean, he's finally made it home. Charlie, how are you?
Yeah, I've missed this, man. I've really missed this. Thanks for having me on again. How's everyone? I hope everyone's doing well. Just looking forward to have the show. Feeling good about how Spurs is playing. Just if Solanke's back, I think we'll start doing everything better. So that's where I'll start off with.
Mod Mark's with me as usual. He's usually my right hand man, my shotgun. Mark, how are you?
Yeah, all is good, Adrian. All is good. So it's the same old. I'm sure we'll get into it.
Ellie's gone wandabout when I was moving to her. How are you, Ellie?
Sorry.
Queen Ellie. She's ex-Spurs ladies and an ambassador at the club.
My daughter's having a right go at my husband for something. So I told her to shut up. She's having a go at her dad. Right. Yeah, I'm okay. I agree with Deji. We have been playing well. We just haven't been finishing our dinner. You imagine if we put all those chances away against Newcastle, I reckon it would have been a cricket score. You know.
Right. Okay. We'll move straight into the review of the first few games. We're not going to dissect them like we've done as we've done on previous shows. So, Deji, what did you make of those 3 games? What did you see, and what's your take on them?
Yeah, so I've been going around and I've been saying something called domination in the location. And what that means is what we've been doing is total domination. And people who understand the game, it's not a small thing to be reducing your opposition to 3 or 4 chances per game. So we know we're dominating the ball from what we're seeing, a bit like last season. But now, if you look at it, Leicester had about 2-3 chances. Everton had none. I was at the game. Newcastle had 4 chances. So we're reducing the opposition to under 5 quality chances per game. And it's just a moment of where the boys just kind of have a lapse in concentration. That's what's led to the goals. But when they can concentrate for 90 minutes, and when we get Solanke, and that's why we brought Solanke in, someone who can bury the chances. The reason why we didn't beat Newcastle is because we had no bloody striker. You can see Cooley was struggling. It's not his position. Can't blame him. Once we have our striker back, which we put in place, you will see Spurs purring. And the one thing that made me feel really extremely positive, I used to talk about Harry Kane when he wasn't scoring. None of us panicked. Why didn't we panic? Because Harry Kane was still getting in the right position. And when you're getting in the right position, you know sooner or later he's going to start finding the net and scoring goals again. And that's what's happening with our club. We are creating excellent chances. Sooner or later, we're going to start putting the ball in the back of the net. And then people won't be able to live with us. Remember Conte ball. Remember the ball under Mourinho. It was dry. It was dusty. We were bored out of our wits. Now we have a club who plays sexy football, dare I say, akin to Pochettino or even better. And now we just got to let them do what they're doing. Look, I'm confident we can finish top 4 with the way that we're playing. We just got to see ahead. Look at Odebear. People keep trolling me and telling me about your squad doesn't look great. It's because you don't have knowledge. Look at the players that we've brought in. Fitting in straight away, young players, and they're class players. So for me, I'm excited. I've been happy. Just my final point. A lot of people keep saying, well, Spurs tend to start strong and we tend to fall off towards the end of the season. Rubbish. I don't know about you all. I would rather start the way that we've started and finish the season strong than do what we did last season, which is to start strong and fade off. As long as we don't fade and we keep progressing upwards, I think the only way is up for our club. So I'm excited.
Ian, do you share Desi's positivity, or do you have a different take on their first 3 games?
I think Desi should stay where he is because he's happy and he's positive. Do I think he's a realist? Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. Better than Pochettino. You've got to be kidding.
Wait, can I just ask you a question before you go and do your thing? When we got Poch, what did you think he was going to achieve at Spurs?
What did I think? I didn't know because
you didn't know. Right. You did not know exactly, but you enjoyed it, didn't you?
Did I enjoy it?
Yeah.
He played a proper system with far better players. Yeah. If you think this system is good, seriously, Desi, listen. I'm not here to rip anybody apart. Everybody's got their own opinions. And you've got to respect everybody else's opinions. Yeah. But I couldn't be further from where you are today. Okay. As far as the first 3 games are concerned, you say we've dominated. I saw a great headline yesterday, a bark with no bite. And that summed us up against Newcastle. Pope, we had 20 shots. I think Pope made 2 saves. 2 actual saves that he made, that he could have probably plucked out the air without having to, make out he was going full length to save them. We didn't look dangerous. We didn't create any clear-cut chances. We had 66% of the ball. We had 49 touches in Newcastle's area compared to their 14. They look much more dangerous than us attacking, and they won because of it. There's no balance to our team. None. There's no 6. There's no 6. We need a 6. There is no 6 in the team. He plays 2 at the back. He's lost. He plays a kamikaze high line because he's got Van der Ven's explosive pace. He didn't have Van der Ven on Sunday. So what do? Do you move it back? Do you move your back line 10 yards back to give yourself more chance? And any balls that go through, Vicario should sweep up anyway. You can't stand on the halfway line like we did when they're 20, 25 yards away from you with the ball and play offside and stand flat-footed looking at the opposition. I'm sorry, the system is a complete shambles. Even though we should have won all 3 games. Leicester and Everton are dreadful. The performance on Sunday was better, much better. I was in Newcastle the last 2 years and had to stomach those 10 goals going in. But that's right. Newcastle sat back and surrendered and picked us off when they wanted. And that is what's going on. Honestly, if you think Postecoglou's, he's not in the same league as Pochettino. Not in the same league. His record since Chelsea in November, if it wasn't for the first 10 games, he would have been sacked by now. It's disgraceful. We got 44 points from 31 games. We've beaten one top 10 team, Villa, since December. It's an absolute shambles what's going on at the club. He's out of his depth, completely out of his depth. He doesn't change tactics. He doesn't adapt to any game, to any opposition, just plays exactly the same way. I have never seen our team last season so open. Once we got through the first 10 games, all the other teams have worked us out. If you're watching the Champions League semi-final with Tuchel and Ancelotti, they were changing substitutes, they were changing systems, and the other managers saw it and they were countering it, and it was like a game of chess. Postecoglou's naive compared to managers like this. Tactically, it's got no idea. It's just got no idea. I'm sorry. It's absolutely dreadful. I'm talking the macro way. Micro way, as I said, we should have won all 3 games. But if you're looking at the bigger picture, I mean, Walker and Rose flying up the wing, Ali playing off Kane. It was different class. It was different class. Teams came to Spurs. Even Chelsea, Hazard was pushed back. All of them pushed back through Walker and Rose. The football was fantastic. Dembele was a class act. The 2 at the back, we were never in trouble defensively. We were never cut open like these teams have been doing to us. We let in over 60 goals last year. God knows what we're going to let in this year if he doesn't change.
Colin,
No.
Look, listen. You have your say. This will.
I'm done.
Colin, 2 contrasting opinions. What's your
I'd say
take?
the truth probably. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree more with the gentleman below me than the gentleman next to me, but that's okay. Of course, okay. I think if our forwards could put goals away, if our forwards weren't dreadful, and we haven't really had, to be fair, we haven't had Dom Solanke fit for more than one match. We haven't had Richarlison fit at all. But the way that we play, chances are created. The ball was put into that danger zone, right? Those crosses, those low-driven crosses right across the box. An actual forward would finish those. Would we have to outscore our opponents to win matches? Yeah, I think that was always going to be the case with Ange, with the ball that he plays. It's like you score 5, we'll score 7 kind of thing. And that's not everybody's bag. I get that completely. But I think had our forwards been on song, I think we, and like you were saying, I think you agreed that we would have beat Newcastle, had that happen. I don't think it's quite as bad as some people seem to think. I don't know if it's quite as good as other people seem to think. There's definitely some adaptation that needs to happen, but I don't think that. I think to say Ange is out of his depth is unfair, but I get it. It sucks because I can see where people are coming from, but I don't necessarily agree with it. It's not as bad as it seems. Let's get all of our players fit. Had we had Van de Ven, I know we rely on Van de Ven too much. I know we do. I think when Van de Ven isn't fit and to play and Van de Ven's not in the lineup, let's push that line up another 10 yards. Ian, I agree. Let's push it up a little bit. I think we're playing with a very, very high line. The only reason it works is because Van de Ven can bail us out of trouble a lot of times. But yeah, I'd much prefer it to Conte ball, to Mourinho ball. It's just more fun to watch. It's just, and getting beat isn't fun, and so I get people are gonna laugh at me there. But yeah, I mean, it's just I get out of my seat. I'm excited. It looks like we're gonna do things. We're not. It reminds me of I don't want to say of Harry Redknapp, but it's almost got shades of it. It's just we're a more attacking team. We were always a team that went and we attacked the big boys. We attacked everybody. And it seems like we lost our way for a while. And this maybe we've overcorrected. Maybe we've gone from being too defensive to too offensive. I could see that argument being made, but yeah, I don't think. To everyone saying that Ange is going to be gone by November or gone by Christmas or whatever, I don't buy into that one. So first 3 matches, not as good as we all would have liked, but not as bad as maybe some people paint it either.
Charlie, your take on that? Did you see all 3 games? Managed to get them all in?
Yeah, I got them all in. One in Tokyo, which was the 4-0 Everton win, which was amazing. That was amazing. But listen, first 3 games, I think Leicester was a massive letdown, especially after the long wait of having all this pre-season, playing against Bayern Munich and all this kind of stuff. And with all the chance we had and all the chance we had, all the things we created, everything that we've done, it's a letdown. And I love watching our team, but it feels like we're being let down a lot the last couple of games because we're not clinical enough. We're not fighting enough. It feels like we're fighting enough, but we're not scoring enough. And I know it's like you need to score to win goals, to win games. But I'm just getting a bit annoyed. And I love watching Tottenham. I'm looking forward to the next game, all this stuff. But I just want us to see score more goals. I'm done with drawing to Leicester and all that stuff because I mean, like Leicester just got promoted. They didn't play as well. They had 2-3 amazing chances, but 2-3 good chances. They had the Vardy goal, which should have been defended because he was clear open. I mean, like, these are things that are so easy to prevent that still happen, which annoys me. But I have to say, after 3 games, I've seen a lot of positives too. We're creating a lot. I love the look of Archie Gray. I love the look of Berger. I love the look of Odebert. I haven't seen Solanke yet, so I don't have anything on him yet. But like the Everton game showed exactly what we could have done in the Leicester game, what we could have done in the Newcastle game. So that shows a lot of positives. But the Leicester and the Newcastle game does show like that we still are lacking in the front and that we're still lacking in a couple of areas. But overall, I'm a bit positive. I'm a bit negative. I don't know where I'm standing on it exactly.
Fair enough. Kevin, what's your take on the first 3 games, mate?
Right. Well, can you hear me first?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good. Okay. Yeah. I mean, okay. So it was frustrating. I think the Everton game, which I was at, it was good and we were all over them. Still a bit frustrating, but I think, as other people probably have said, I think overall it's frustrating not being able to turn our domination in periods of the game into goals. I mean, you could feel it happening against Newcastle. We didn't score. They were going to break away and score, and it happened twice. In fact, in that game, but it's almost a case of well, what else can we try? Can we try something different at the moment with the injuries we got? Well, it was very hard to try anything different. He reverted in the second half, Newcastle, back to the formation he had at Everton, and it was working, but we didn't score. So I'm frustrated. I wouldn't say I'm disheartened. I'm just frustrated at the moment with the way things are going. Last season we started off with the draw, but then we got maybe some lucky wins. This season hasn't quite gone that way, has it? So 3 games where we should have won all 3 really, and you just got to hope that we get our injured players back so that we can put out the formation he wants to put out.
Okay, Mod Mark, your take on the 3 games?
Yeah, well, first of all, big up all the panel. I've been on stream with most of you, but big up Deji. I'm normally in your comments on your shows quite regularly. Right, the first 3 games. Well, you know my feelings about handball. Personally, I don't like it because it's suicide football. It really is. You know, it's just that one ball down the side, over the top, and we're just exposed. You know, I think you ought to be. No, put it this way: I want Ange to succeed. I want every player and every manager of Tottenham to succeed. But I fear that if he doesn't adapt and he doesn't stop with all this gung-ho nonsense, that he will get sacked. Because, well, put it this way, the Everton game, we dominated. And we did dominate them. But let's face it, Everton were pants. I watched another stream and they said it's the worst Everton team that they've seen ever at the Lane. And from what I've seen of Everton this season, if they survive in the Premier League, it's going to be more luck than anything else. But the Leicester game and the Newcastle game, it's the same old stuff. One ball down the side and they're in. You know, I mean, it's the same things. I just wish, because I want Ange to be successful. I want Tottenham to be successful. But it's the same glaring things. Like, both the wing backs are playing as number 10s and strikers. Instead of being back, like helping to defend, they're in the opposition penalty area. I mean, you can't tell me that's sensible. I mean, personally, I'd like to go up there and force him to either play a number 6, who I wanted us to buy in the summer, or none of this gung-ho nonsense where they both go forward. Keep one of them back, so we got 3 back. Because it's the same goals we concede, and it's the same problems. And I'm sorry, but I think if we keep on playing like that and getting caught out, and we're losing games 2-1, well, for a start, we never had a striker. So if we'd have had a striker, we'd have won easy. So I hope Solanke hits the ground running and we can start winning 5-4 with his tactics, because that's all it's going to be. We're certainly not going to keep a clean sheet. You know what? Apart from Everton, as I said, Everton are the worst. We're the worst team that I've seen us play for. I can't remember. I mean, if they don't sort themselves out, they are getting relegated.
Okay, Ellie.
Yeah.
Admin Ellie, how are you? One of my fellow admins.
Really well, thank you. Yeah, I've been listening to everybody. Everybody's got valid points. Just put it that way. Everybody sees the game differently. Everybody's looking for different things that pleases them or displeases them. All right. Me personally, I like the way we move the ball. I like the way we keep the ball. I don't like the way we defend. That's one thing for sure. The high line is suicide because we get caught out a lot, and it nearly always leads to a goal as well, which is very disappointing because you just don't want that to happen, right? And it's happening regularly. What I did like in the Everton game is that we controlled the ball and Basuma played excellent, and then he goes missing against Newcastle. So he's got to have some consistency, the lad, right? And other players didn't really step up against Newcastle, although we did have a lot of possession. It was powder puff possession. That's what I call it, because we weren't doing a lot with it. And when we did have shots, they were always getting either blocked or they were half chances. There wasn't many clear cut, where you go, whoa, go on, this is a definite goal. All right. And I just feel disappointed that Postecoglou's system, he's tried it for the whole season and he's persevering with it this year. And we've had 1 win, 1 loss and 1 draw. So it's very frustrating because I just want us to push on and become that team that Postecoglou wants us to become. But I just fear that we haven't got enough technicians and enough accuracy in when we get to that final third and the final ball. it's just not there, right? Because if it was, we would have created more clear-cut chances. And I heard somebody say that Mason was shouting, just get it across. Don't worry who's there. Just bang it across. Now, I'm from the school of look up and see who's on and find them. Yeah, because there was one occasion when Johnson, who a lot of people were giving a lot of praise to, which I find a bit weird because none of his crosses, apart from the one that Dan Burn unfortunately into his own net, found his man. And there's 2 crosses that he'd done miles too long, and then the one that Solly needed, when Solly he didn't go to the 6-yard or 8-yard box because there was a lot of defenders there, and they know that, Newcastle. So they bank up in that area. So what he did, he was very clever. He stood back, Johnson just whacked it across the 6-yard box to nobody. So that was very frustrating. But we've got to learn from our mistakes. And Postecoglou, he has to have a wake-up call, I'm afraid, because he is a good manager. Don't get me wrong. He's a very, very good man manager. He knows how to keep his players on side. But he'll soon lose the love of the fans, because the fans always sing his name. He'll soon lose that if he carries on in this vein. That's what I fear. I don't think he's going to get back. I don't think that, right? But I just feel that they're going to judge him very harshly, and then the board might buckle, because we've seen it in the past. I don't want them to, but I think they've got a history of buckling under the fans' pressure. So let's see what happens, because like Deji said, I'd rather start this way and finish with a gallop, than what we did last season. Yeah.
Right, my take on this, because it's interesting when fans have got a different perception of how games have been played. I'm coming from the positive angle here, because I think fans are missing a trick. We played Everton away. We played with Slanky in the middle, Donny on the left, Johnson on the right. We had when we played Leicester away. Sorry, we had so much possession and chances, but we looked a cohesive unit. Last year, our midfield and our forward line were pants. The forward line still got to do it this year. They haven't really performed as we would like. So you had that during that game. There was good link-up play. We had good possession. And then you move on to the Everton game again. And he does change things, because Odegaard starts, Blanky's out injured, Stone's in the middle, right? You've got Johnson on the right. Did it affect our performance? No. We were better. It shows that during pre-season and the friendly games we have, that his philosophy is getting across. I don't believe he doesn't know what he's doing. He does. He's been doing this for 28 years. He said in one of his press conferences, listen, mate, I hear that talk. He said, been doing this for 20 years. I know every system, every tactic there is out there, right? And all systems work and they all fail. They all work and they all fail, right? We then move on. We move on to the Newcastle game. The team has changed again. This time, Odegaard's on the right, Son's on the left, and Decky's asked to play through the middle. Were we disastrous and bad? No, because people knew their job. We didn't do enough to score goals, but they did their jobs. There was better link-up. You notice with Maddison being on the left, there was good link-up play with Sonny. Now, Odegaard was on the right this time, so he didn't have the benefit of Maddison's passing so much like he did against the Everton game. So my take is, when I look at the game coldly, and when I'm at games, I like to look down on the pitch, see the patterns of play. You do get magnetically attracted to the ball, but I like to see what's going on and if the system works. If we go to that Newcastle goal, one thing I would criticise Ange for is he's definitely not match fit yet. He's not got his match sharpness. He might be fit, but he's only just come back from an injury. And on that goal, if you look, it wasn't two centre backs on the halfway line. We had our old back four there. You had Doggy there. He wasn't as tight as he should have been to Murphy. You had you had Romero. He was left centre back for that goal. If you go across the far side of the pitch, you had Porro, and who was worried who weren't used to the system properly and playing everyone onside? Dragerson, because he was dragging back, and he was in the right centre-back position. Don't get me wrong on that goal. I'm just pointing things out to that goal. So you can blame Romero, you can blame part of it on Udogie and all that. You could partly blame Dragerson and all that. But forget that, because that game you should have won. The first goal was absolutely shocking to give away. Absolutely shocking. So forget the second one, because the first one was bad. I mean, people had a pop, but it was Maddison who was at left back naked the tackle when the ball comes across, past Dragerson, past Basuma, past Udogie, past side. We had 6 blue shirts in a straight line. No excuses for that. I'd tell you how it is. That was a shocking goal. Romero made a bad decision to go forward and press, didn't get back. If he'd got back, he might have been in a left-hand side position because he seemed to be playing more left centre-back than right centre-back in that game. So you could blame him for it, but at the same time, Barnes shouldn't have been allowed that much space from that throw-in. We did fall asleep, or, you know, we were taking a breather or whatever. But I don't see it. What I've seen in patterns of play, unlike last year, when our midfield got battered and our forwards got battered, the actual play, I get why fans have a pop. Because I'm not happy. We should have 9 points. We should have 9 points, guys, from these 3 games. I'm not happy about that, but I always try and be objective and tell it how it is. And the actual midfield play, for the changes in each game, it didn't affect our pattern of play. That tells you they're working hard on the training ground to me. And like we've seen loads of changes during pre-season. So I don't come from the totally. I'm not not happy with the goals we give away at Leicester, because again that come from across the far past of the goal as well. The first, I'm not happy with that. So I'm not delighted or nothing like that. I'm just telling her it's the actual pattern of play. But Postecoglou does change things. He's changed the players. Each team's been different, and it hasn't affected us really. And we haven't scored, and we've conceded goals, but we've dominated all those 3 games. So his philosophy is getting across to these players. And people don't want... Look, if people disagree with me, that's fine. That's what you're all here for, to express your opinions. But just as long as you keep it mature and sensible, because we are a very discerning Spurs group. So back to you, Deji. Anything else to add?
You know, I think you're absolutely spot on. And, you know, for me, like you, I was at the Everton game. But for me, the one thing that really annoys me, I don't mind losing, but I do mind when you don't put up a fight. One of the things I thought that was a disgrace under Conte and Mourinho is going to the Emirates and we look like little boys, you know, sitting on their lap, pulling down our pants and getting beaten by a wooden spoon because we had no fight. Now, Newcastle, the last 2 games, bullied us. Gomes, Joe Linton, they bullied the midfield. We just couldn't hack it in terms of intensity and in terms of physicality. And we saw our team completely dominate that Newcastle team. Granted, we didn't score the goals, but we are playing better football. So I totally agree with you. I think it's a matter of time. The reason why we're in this position, we've all said it, we played well, we just didn't score. And I'm not concerned. I think we will start to score the goals. But that is old ball. Old ball is not, we're not going to concede any goals. We will concede, but we will score more goals. And had Lady Luck been on our side on those in the 3 games, we would have scored a lot of goals. We're talking about Spurs not scoring many. We're complaining about scoring goals, but we've scored more than Arsenal, for crying out loud. Do you know what I mean? Let's put these into perspective. But we could have scored more. I think we just trust him, trust the process, and let's give him time. Do you know what I mean? Let's not just... I think time will tell. Let's see where we are after 10 games, after 15 games, 20 games. But you can see, you're right. You can see that the lads understand the system. They really do. Romero's playing out of position, unfortunately, at left centre back. But he is changing it up. Odegaard is doing an all right job. And sooner or later, it will click. We've always struggled, by the way. May I remind all of the illustrious panel, we've always struggled with the low block. It's not new. It's not new under Postecoglou. It's been a problem. It's our Achilles heel. But we are getting there. We are creating the chances. And so let's just keep working. I'm positive. I looked at how we play, and I've looked at some of the bigger teams, Arsenal included. They're going to get smashed up when they play us. That's the truth. Honestly, I know some people are not happy for me to say that, but look at the game. Look at how we're dominating. It's not a coincidence. So, yeah, look, that's all I have to say before I keep going on.
Kev?
Can I come in here?
You can, after, let's go, Kev, and I'll come up to you, Ian. Right?
Okay.
We'll go to bottom ranks first. Kev?
Okay. I definitely agree with you, Adrian, on the 2 Newcastle goals. And our defensive-minded, we can't take throw-ons, and it looks like we can't defend throw-ons either. And, you know, it's the most common set piece in any game is a throw-in. And we just don't seem to know how to do them. The obvious throw-in when you're in that attacking third is down the line into the space, so that when you pull the ball back, there's no one offside, which is exactly, you know, what Newcastle did. You can't blame Romero, I don't think, for that second goal. He was the only one who went out of defence to chase the ball down, and he gave away the throw-in. There was 10 other players behind him when that throw-in was taken, you know, who should have been picking up the men. And that was what was really frustrating about that. So, and I share Deji's views, to be honest. Perhaps I'm not quite as bullish as he is at how we're going to smash everyone when we get to them. But you know, we are dominating the game. And the big change from the Everton game to the Newcastle game and the low block the Newcastle playing is that we were shooting from outside of the area. Against Everton, the only long-range shot really was Basuma and maybe one from Porro. But we were trying to play it so intricately around the box to get the ball in there, it wasn't working. And suddenly against Newcastle, we were actually taking shots from outside the area. They didn't get through most of the time because there were 7 Newcastle players, or Dragerson on occasion of one of them, in the way of the shot as it was going through. But that was a distinct change in the way we were playing, taking shots from outside of the area rather than trying to work it all the way in.
Before I go to Ian, I've got to do this because someone mentioned Arsenal.
Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go.
Ian, over to you.
Okay, let me answer, Reggie, on Conte and Mourinho. I mean, where's this narrative come that they were boring? The reason they played a low block was that you didn't have anybody with Van der Ven's pace. Paul Romero had a combination of Dyer, Sanchez, Longley, Davis, Tanganga, and if we'd have played a high line with those players, we would have just got ripped to pieces. So he had to play a high line. Both Mourinho and Conte, and they had Kane and Son to work their magic. You know, and that's why, you know, we were top at one stage with Mourinho. People have forgotten. You know, Conte had to play the way he played because of the players he had. But I'm sure everybody loved the football that Conte played when he came. And we went from 9th to 4th, and we battered Everton for 5. We went to Villa and won with 4. We went 4 against Leeds. We were scoring for fun. We were the second highest scorers after Conte joined after Man City. So I don't get this narrative of they were boring. No, they weren't boring. They are proper coaches. Proper coaches. This guy here is a clown. I've never seen tactics like this. I've been watching football for 60 odd years nearly. I've never seen anybody play kamikaze the way he does. And he doesn't adjust. He didn't have Mickey's explosive pace. So he should have dropped players back 10 yards. And you saw what happened for their second goal. Proof of the pudding's in the eating. We all saw that. I think it's just I don't know. You know, the players that we've got here would be perfect for Conte. You've got 3 terrific centre backs. He should be playing a back 3 with Porro and Udogie as wing backs, and then you wouldn't be relying so much on wingers whose delivery is not great. So you've got players that fit that system, and he won't change. Never changes. Doesn't change during a match. It's ridiculous. It's like for like. Doesn't think outside the box. You know, he's defensive as well. West Ham and Villa at home last year were losing 2-1. Pulls Gio off on 70 minutes, and he puts Skip on. He's got Donnelly on the bench. The lack of kids. Exactly. Conte never played boring football. When Conte won the leagues with his teams, they scored 90 goals each season. You know, it was our worst. I think it was our worst defensive season last year for about 20-25 years. It's because you don't understand the tactics. I fully understand the tactics. I can see what he's doing. He doesn't have the players to do it. It's all very well if you've got all the best players in Scotland to do it, because you can get away with it. You got Players that will score more than they can see. It's fine if you're in Japan and Australia. It's completely disrespecting the coaches and the players here in the Premier League. This is not a pub league. This is a proper top league. You can't. Nobody plays with a 2-5-3 formation. No one's ever won a trophy. You know, defenses win you titles. Defenses win you titles. We've got players at the back that most clubs would die for. Yeah. You look at Porro, Udogie, Mickey, Romero, Dragoson's played well. When he's the top player. He's he's playing in the Euros for Romania. He's no mug. These players, if they were put up for sale, there'd be no shortage of players. But why are we looking wide open every single match? Teams cut through us. And if people want to ignore that and just bury their head in the sand and say, "Oh, look at the fantastic football we play." Really, the football's fantastic. Sideways, backwards, forwards, backwards, sideways. This is not fantastic, exhilarating football. We get to the edge of the box. We don't know how to cut through teams. We don't know how to break down a low block. We haven't got a clue how to break down a low block. You've got the 2 wing backs. I say wing, they should be full backs. They're in the space that Madison should be operating. People are saying, what's Madison doing? Give him space to move it, to work. I'm sorry. And as far as putting crosses in, it's not Johnson's job. It's not his responsibility to make sure that his centre forward is in the box. The centre forward's responsibility should be he's in that 6-yard box. If Kane had been playing on Sunday, we saw Kane scored 280 goals for Spurs. Balls were whipped in. He's in the right place. He was always in the box. There were no gaps where all you saw were defenders when Kane was there. He was in there and he was putting the ball in the back of the net. Where was Son? Don't tell me Son can't sprint. He kept up with Van der Ven when he scored the 4th goal against Everton. Why isn't Sonny in that 6-yard box looking to score? Or Kulu? I'm sorry, it's
Ian, just one question. Do you think obviously it's a hypothetical question here, because I know you're bigging up Conte, Ball and Mourinho, and they had the pleasure of having Harry Kane. If we had Harry Kane, do you think the same thing would be happening, or would we have got 9 points? Because I think the difference is he lost the best striker in world football, and Mourinho hadn't gone.
Kane played 1 goal for Ange and scored 4 times. Sorry, 1 game, should I say?
Yeah.
Pre-season scored 4 goals.
So it might not be the system then. Maybe we lost the best striker in world football.
You see what? That didn't help, but we still scored 2 goals more last season than we did in the previous year when Kane was there. The goals were just spread around.
Yeah.
The problem you got is that we get caught on the counter because we lose possession. And what we need is someone like a Grealish who can hold the ball and keep it. We haven't got anybody like him. Eze would have been perfect in this team. Gets the ball, carries it, dribbles, doesn't get knocked off the ball, very rarely. Maddison gets knocked off the ball quite easily. He's not a physical player. You know, he's skillful, but I'd much rather have Eze in that team. And I think we missed a trick. And while we don't have players who can hold the ball and keep it, we're going to lose possession. He pushes the fullbacks on, which leaves Romero and Mickey stretched. We've got big problems. We've seriously got big problems, and the other managers have all worked this out now. So it's all very well saying, yeah, great, lovely, terrific, fast moving football on the counter. When you play teams with a low block who play 9-10 behind the ball, we've got no clue. Hopefully Solanke will improve the situation, because at least he can hold the ball up now and he can bring other players into play. But we haven't had that since Kane left.
Colin, your take on what's been said so far? It's been an interesting, contrasting debate.
Yeah, well, Deji kind of got what I was going to say with, like, you know, the reason why I feel like Mourinho in particular looked good was because of Kane. I think had Kane not been there, we wouldn't have had the awesome pairing of Sonny and Kane scoring all of those goals together. You know, whenever they combined for the most goals, you know, record. It was a record or something. But anyway, had Kane not been there, I don't think that would have happened. I don't think it would have worked out the way. And everybody, obviously, I think would have to agree. Yeah, I do still think that football was really boring at times. I think that playing for a 1-0 win, which is Conte's and Mourinho too. I think that we get a goal up and then sit back. That's boring. That's not the football I like to watch. But did we win more? Maybe. I don't know. It really goes both ways. It's tough for me to. I like the football more now. I think that saying that Ange is out of his depth is disingenuous, perhaps, or at least not very nice to a guy that has climbed his way up. He's basically done a Harry Kane kind of. He's come up through. You know, he's had Kane had those loan spells that went poorly. Ange has played in every single level that Ange has been, coaching at. He's succeeded. I don't see how you can fault him for any of that. It's not like he was playing. Okay, I guess you can say that in Scotland he might have had the most tools at his disposal. I guess you could say out of everybody. And there's no mic there. I mean, he clearly did financially. Player wise, his team was far ahead of the other teams. But I mean, to discount like the work he did in Japan, the work he did in Australia, he was playing. Yeah, those are lower leagues. But the teams he was playing with matched that, if you get what I'm saying. It's not like he was playing with the Premier League team in the Australian League. I
was comparing them to the Premier League.
Do what now?
To give it context, I was comparing those leagues to the Premier League. Listen, you can only do full marks to him for winning where he has been previously.
Yeah.
But I think he has thought he could just come straight into the Premier League, which is several levels above anything he has worked, any league he has worked in previously, and he thinks the same tactics are going to work. If you bring him in, I would have understood they've worked for me here. Let's give it a go. Once you see they're not working, then you've got to adapt. Whether it's starting or whether it's changing it during a game, you've got to adapt. There is no adaptation to him. He doesn't play the game. We can be closed out. Look at City in the FA Cup. Perfect example. They shut us down at the Lane last January, right the way through. They didn't change it at all. There was no movement from him whatsoever. Nothing.
Can I just add?
And in the end, they got the 2 late goals.
Go on, Deji.
Yeah, the thing is, it's a process, Ian. You can't build. Rome wasn't built in a day. What he spent last season doing was trying to get the style of play in the heads of the Spurs players. Now he even came out to say the foundation's been laid. We saw it in the Newcastle game. It doesn't matter who comes in, the boys know what they're doing. The next stage, once the team know how to play the system, now you do the adaptation. People always banter me because I always reference Arsenal, but Arsenal at this stage with Arteta, everybody was saying, what the hell is he doing? They finished 8th in their second season, then 5th, and then it clicked. We are talking about getting rid of Ange after season 1. That is ridiculous when we finished 5th. So you can see them, give him time. You can't just put all the pieces together and then it's just going to pick up and work. Look at Liverpool. Took Klopp 4 seasons. So they're building blocks and he's given us the building blocks. This season, we refine it, the players play on, and then I bet you this, in season 3, maybe not this season, he starts to adapt the line. But until the players understand the ball completely, he will refuse to change it. But once they understand it and he can trust them, then you can start playing about. Because if you keep playing about with the system, then they don't learn. Then we're in 6s and 7s. Then we become Man United.
So hang on a sec. What about being Liverpool? What about being Liverpool? Do you think Klopp played one system only? Do you think he stuck to one system?
But he built the original system, and then he was able to change it over time. That's what I'm saying. Postecoglou is building our system, and then he will change it. Adrian mentioned it. He is making some changes. People are not giving him credit for it. He is tweaking it. How many of you thought that Brennan Johnson was going to start against Newcastle on the weekend? You know what I mean? But I wanted Odegaard to start, and he did it. Even I knew that Dragusin, if you've watched him, at centre-back, he struggles at left centre-back. He noticed that, and that's why he played him right centre-back. So we are making tweaks. It's just that we need to get this style of play fully ingrained. And lastly, Ian, the one thing I would say, and I side with Colin, we've had a slip in concentration at Leicester and a slip in concentration at Newcastle. But for pretty much 90% of the game, we were on top. So what we also need to work on is 100% concentration. Because had we been if Romero didn't go to sleep in the Leicester game, we win. If they didn't go to sleep for that moment in the Newcastle game, we win. That is those are the yardsticks, and that's what we're working on.
We're not winning though, are we? We're not winning.
But it's not terrible because you're acting like
I didn't say. I haven't said it's terrible. I haven't used that word at all. What I'm saying, and I did start off by saying that we should have won the first 3 games. But there are things that are going wrong that all of us fans can see, and he won't see it. Now, sometimes in life, you go down a path, and if it's not working, if part of that path is not working, you're running into a bollard, you've got to say, well, I'm fed up running into that bollard. I'm getting hurt all the time. I think I've got to change it a little bit. He's not changing. He's really not changing. He is, I don't know, he has made so many errors, so many mistakes with game management, team selection. I mean, Odegaard, fantastic. Are we that disillusioned with our wingers? A 19-year-old who has got great potential, granted, but is not ready for the first team. Genuinely is not ready, and you could see that he wasn't ready. It was against Everton. It was unfortunate to run up against a debutant who all Everton's club have said is the fastest player they have ever had on their books. And so he kept getting forced inside because there's no way he was going to beat Dixon round the outside. He faded in the second half and got pulled. He did very little on Sunday. It's not fair on the kid. It's just not fair he comes across from Burnley. He's not ready. And he's thrown in. Build him up. Get him used to the team. Training, maybe bring him in on the cup games, like I'm sure Andy's going to do for Bergvall and Gray. Don't throw him in straight away.
Who plays on the right then?
Sorry, who plays on the right?
Yeah, because I think he's better than what are on the right options. He's better than Brennan Johnson, in my opinion, and I'd rather see Odegaard than Huh?
Why do you think he's better than Brennan Johnson based on 120 minutes of football? No, seriously.
Charlie, I want to bring you in,
Why do
Charlie.
you think he's
Charlie,
better than
Charlie, I
Johnson?
want to bring you in. Hang on, Ian. I want to bring Charlie in. He hasn't said anything for a while. Ian, what's your take? Do you think Angie's totally clueless? He's been in football 28 years. You know, he's had success everywhere he's been. Is he clueless? Do you think he knows enough about the modern game at Spurs?
Wait, Ian or Charlie?
Charlie.
You.
Oh, okay. Well, I just look at the stats. Everywhere Ange's been, the first season was an adapting season. So that's why I think he's been playing his style of football last season, because he wants to implement it in everyone. He wants to show what he's up to. He wants to show what he wants and how he wants it. And I think if we change it every week, we will not be able. Then the players won't be able to accustom to this way he wants to play, because it's hard to adapt from playing like defensive Stone Age football to playing that on the front foot, all this. So that's it. Because if you look at it, we went to Brisbane Roar in 2009, one in 2010, one in 2012. So in 2009 to 2010, he didn't win anything. And the same with Melbourne. So everywhere he's been, he didn't win in the first season, which I think shows that this season had a lot of good things to come and a lot more positives to come, because you see that after a year, the players seem to understand it more. And I know this is the Premier League, and I know that it's a harder league, but you are playing against the same opposition. So you can be Pep Guardiola in a league where everyone is the same team. You need to. Well, that's a very bad. You know what I mean? You're on the level. So it's basically like saying maybe they're all bad, but they all are on the same level. It's not like there's one team like Melbourne or Brisbane was not miles above. They were way worse. They were about to be relegated, all that stuff. So it does show that he implements winning mentality. It does show that he is a good manager. I think it shows that he can do something good for us this season.
Mark.
Yes.
Well, your take.
Right.
Do you think he's clueless after being in football for 28 years?
I don't think he's. I don't think he's clueless. My honest opinion of Ange is he's very naive. Very naive. Now, what he done in Celtic with the football they played up there, let's face it, me or you could have done that, Adrian, because Celtic were almost nailed on to win the league every year. There's only 2 teams in.
They offered me the job. I was busy.
Oh, so I see. And it's a bit far for me to go, to be honest. Glasgow and back in a day. But you know what I mean? He's naive is my take on it, because it's like I said, Celtic are virtually nailed on. It's either Celtic or Rangers, and Celtic have had the vast majority of it for the last few years. You know, they've won the league anyway. You know, they might have not have won everything, but like he's just, I think he's come in to Spurs, and it's like Ian said, who have you ever seen win the league with a 2-5-3 formation? I've been critical of his stubbornness and his all-out gung-ho style football, because there's far better teams in the Premier League than there is in the SPL, you know, and he's been found in that. All I want him to do is none of this fullbacks in the opposition penalty area nonsense, or if one of them goes, just leave one back. You know, say to them, look, you've got to speak to each other. If you say you got Destiny on one side, Paro on the other, you say to Destiny, if you see Paro trotting off up the pitch, you stay back, because then we got at least 3 there. Well, you know what? We as you know, I was crying out for a number 6 or Summer. You know, we desperately need more protection. Desperately, because I can see what's going to happen. I don't want us to lose any game. Let's get that out there before I start. But I can see with this suicide kamikaze football that we play, we're going to be getting the likes of Newcastle, where we should be beating them easily. You know, the next game against Arsenal, put it this way, if you don't win that, which is one of the 2 biggest games all year, you know, fans are going to... Well, I don't think the fans will turn.
Beating Newcastle easily?
We should have beat them easily.
No, we should have beat them easily because of the performance. But would you have said that before to beat Newcastle at their game?
I wouldn't have said it. No, I wouldn't have said it before because
Exactly.
the last 2 games there has been 10-1.
Right. So that means the reason why you can say that is because you were impressed by our performance.
I was impressed, but our fallback was the stupid second goal. Because if we'd have had cover there, that goal wouldn't have happened. I do not like this suicidal, gung-ho, charge, everyone up the pitch, and Mickey and Romero sort out. You know, because at the end of the day, you can see what's going to happen. Mickey's going to have to make so many sprints to bail us out the nonsense that he's just going to do his hammies again. Because you can't go on expecting your players to do that. Anyway, to sum up Ange, I think he's very naive, and if he doesn't adapt, we all know what a certain chairman of ours is. I don't know if Brian's left the chat because I don't want to mention his name. But, like, you know, a certain chairman, he's very trigger happy. And if I said it on the last show, if we're 7th, 8th, 9th at Christmas, and it looks like we've got no hope of Champions League football, because let's face it, that's all he's interested in. He just wants us to be relevant and raking the money in through the Champions League. That's all he's interested in. And if we're not, he'll pull the trigger, because we've seen it time after time after time, and nothing ever changes.
Depends on the chat.
Ellie, do you think Angie's naive?
I wouldn't say he's naive. I think he's testing the players whether they're good enough, right? And he hasn't had much help in regards to adding first teamers to challenge the first teamers. You know, more first team quality players, not young kids who are learning the game still, and still they haven't cooked in terms of being there, you know, being able to hold their own in the Premiership. They're very talented players, don't get me wrong. They're all talented in different ways. And we've got some very talented youngsters coming through in Mikey Moore and Dorrington and Donnelly. I like all 3 of those. The rest of them, they're okay. Lankshire's a very good finisher. So we have got some talent building up. What he has to do, he has to get them all to concentrate more, focus, because it's lack of focus that's lost us that game. It's not lack of effort, because we put so much effort, and the press was impressive from the front, because we were working hard, especially Sonny. I don't think anybody gives the guy credit. He was pressing so well, and he nearly nicked the ball again when he ran in on goal, and he could have scored a goal there if he was just about 2 inches away from nicking the ball off the Nick Pope. So we just have to stay focused and stop losing our discipline, because it's that's losing it. The high line, right, it hasn't actually leaked as many goals as people think it has, but I don't like it still. I still don't like it. I'm an old-fashioned girl, right? I like good old-fashioned defend your goal like Arsenal do, right? Arsenal defend their goal like Trojans, because I was watching them against Brighton, right? And they went down to 10 men because Rice got sent off, and they just fell back and they defended their goal, and Brighton were coming at them. I'm telling you, they were really going at them, and they held strong. We have to learn, and Postecoglou has to learn, that sometimes you have to take 10 yards back, because the other teams in this league, like your Newcastle, have got it in their locker to do what they did. Joe Linton, fantastic ball, carved our defence. Murphy comes on the blind side of everybody. Dragusin plays them all onside, and we get caught with our pants down, literally. Right, so I was very disappointed at that goal, and I was shouting at the TV, hence the sore throat. And it was so frustrating, because we should have had that game wrapped up. The amount of chances we had, all right, they weren't all brilliant chances, but some of them could have flown in the back of the net. And I think we hit the bar and the post. So I just want to see better focus, better concentration, and I think Postecoglou will fine-tune these things. He believes in his method. That's one thing for sure. The man might be stubborn, but he's a believer, and he's got results in other leagues that he feels that he's going to do in the Premiership. Maybe that's a bit, pie in the sky, but we don't know because it's a learning curve for him as well. And the players, they have to adapt to a lot of things because they've never played this system in their life. And I worry, though, because I don't think we've strengthened enough to give Postecoglou that ultimate chance to push us to that level that we want to and win and be winners. But like Deji said, he really pointed out a really good point. It took 4 years for Klopp to win a cup. And the first one, right, was against us, I believe. Right, 4 years it took. And look how talented he is. What a talented manager he is. He was a bloody school teacher, wasn't he? Right?
And the backing he received, as well, Ellie.
Yeah, the thing is that he got a lot more help. And I hope and pray that come this January, I don't see it because I don't see this board ever helping our managers out. Not enough, anyway. So I feel disappointed in our owners rather than the manager because they're not giving him the tools to, be successful. I feel for him because, he hasn't got enough technical players to do his system. But another good thing, focus, discipline and focus. It goes a long way. Yeah.
Well, I don't believe he's naive at all. I don't believe, just the maths don't add up for me. You don't have 28 years in the game and be naive and know about the game. And whether teams have got you sussed out, if I was running a team, and I used to years ago, if you like don't know how the other team play, you shouldn't be in the job. You shouldn't be in the job, and your coaches should be sacked because there's enough videotape and everything out there to know. When people say they've sussed us, I get fans coming out. They're saying a lot of things because they're desperate for solutions to find things to go. If you take last season, the reason I'll give him a hit this season, because it is only his second season, and I know fans are so impatient these days. That goes with social media and the internet. But you look at last season, right? We had 22 injuries last season, right? Basuma was suspended 3 times. Romero was suspended once, right? Maddison was injured. Bentancur was injured. VDV was injured. We sold our best player, Kane, at the beginning of the season. And we finished 5th, guys. We finished 5th. That is not naive management. And that was with Davies and Emerson in the back 4. Because the maths don't even add up for that. Admittedly, our midfield was pants for a lot of that season. I've got to admit, I'll say it as it is. You know what I'm like, guys. Our front 3 were pants. And when people started talking to me about bringing in flashy, tricky wingers, look, they're great to watch. Ginola was great to watch. Waddle was great to watch. Aaron Lennon was great. They're all great to watch. But the one thing I agree with critiques of the system, if you're going to bring forwards in, you know what, like Ellie and Mark, it takes about 86 to 90 goals to win this league. That's in a poor goal scoring season. Where are the goals coming from? Don't mention flashy players to me if they can't score goals if they're forwards, because I'm not interested. I've got no time for it. So if you're a winger, if you're an Odebert and you can't chip in, we don't know yet. I don't want you in my team. Johnson got 5 goals last year, 7 assists. For a kid, that's good. That's a good return, but he's got to step up. Still not enough. It's not enough. You need a wide player, should be getting you, as Ian said. I'll come to him next, actually, see what his take is, because it's been a good balanced debate, guys. I just don't look. I don't get. I know that a lot of anti-Angel don't like the system. I don't look. It's not even 2 inverted fullbacks. Porro inverts. He comes in at his shot. You see the way we've changed things on free kicks. Maddison to Sonny to Porro shooting outside the box. That's what Birkinshaw used to say. Beat the low press, shots them out the box, wingers taking people on down the side, and late runners into the box. So you get a late runner into the box, attacking midfielder or something like that, right? Like that. I'm sort of giving you an overview of my feelings. I don't think Angie's naive, and they're not both inverted. Porro inverts. O'Dogie does what he does best. He just goes up and down, up and down. He's a tank, right? He's not quite at his best yet. He'll get there. He will get there though, because he's a good player, right? But like up front, forward line. I mean, we're talking over you on Son. Like when fans get desperate, oh, he should play on the left. Oh, he's not a left winger. Oh, he should play in the middle. He's not a number 9. Oh, he should play as an inside left, which is probably what he really is, an old-fashioned inside left. Then they say he should play as a 9. And I sort of say to them, well, can he play with his back to goal? No. Can he head a ball? No. Well, he shouldn't play as a number 9 ever. Shouldn't play as a number 9. It's that simple. There are 2 prerequisites of being a number 9. Hold the ball up and being able to head the ball, right? They're the main prerequisites of being in goals. So, Ian, back to you. Go on. You can rebut me if you want.
I was just saying that Johnson had 10 assists last year, which was pretty good.
Was it 10? Okay,
10,
I'm free out. Yeah.
Listen, it's
he has potential, in my opinion, whereas Werner has none. Werner's reached his ceiling. Johnson might have a potential to have a higher ceiling, but to me, Werner hasn't.
I don't understand why they brought Werner in, to be honest.
No,
you're not alone, right?
No.
He didn't do enough for me in his last season to do it. But for me, I think you've got to come in. You got to come into a league. I mean, surely he would have been studying videos all summer. He officially started on July the 1st, but the deal was done a month earlier, I was told. There were whispers.
I get that, Ben.
I'm just at a complete loss with someone who's been in management 30 years now, sees how other teams, sees the strength of the Premier League. He can now compare the difference between the previous leagues he's worked in and the standard of this league. He works on a very high line, high risk system because he's got Van de Ven's explosive pace. And when he loses Van de Ven, he plays exactly the same way, knowing that Romero and Dragusin don't have the same pace as Van de Ven.
Ian, just one question though. So, I mean, last season am
I wrong? Am I wrong?
I'm listening to your opinion. What I'm saying about this so-called high line, the amount of goals, we didn't concede that many from last season, about 6 max. And
my God, Adrian!
I think there's a bit
of 20.
No, we called 14 from set pieces we conceded last year. Not breakaways like that. What happened yesterday? And then I think it's a bit of a myth when fans turn around and say 2 centre backs parked on the halfway line. How often? It's not like we spend 90 minutes parked on the halfway line. We are defending for other reasons at times during the game, where we are dropped back into a mid block or a low block anyway, but not as much. And my theory on the high line, as a positive, is why Romero and Van de Ven don't pick up yellow cards. Because when you're playing a low block all the time during the game against teams relying on the counter-attack under Conte and whatever, you're making a lot more tackles. Things can get a bit more desperate. You're going to put the odd tackle and pick up the yellow. I mean, how many cards is yellow? When has Romero picked up his last yellow card? How many cards has he had in the last year? How many?
He's had one, I think, since he got sent off.
Right. Yeah. So... And I think the high line, because they read the game, the balls are coming. Didn't read it well for Newcastle, that second goal, but they read the high line. They've got the jump on the attackers, and either VDV will outrun one or Romero will. And I think that's why they don't. Go on.
Sometimes you've got to praise a fantastic ball. That was like Joe Linton's ball. He won it. He bullied Maddison, and then he plays a sublime defence splitting ball that catches us all on the hop with our pants down. So you've got to praise Newcastle, Joe Linton especially, because he was having a bully game, right? He was just bullying everybody.
Ellie, you played the game. You've played the game.
Yeah,
you don't have a flat pack 4 that's virtually level with each other, bar a yard. You don't play that.
No.
So
but what you should have.
It was a knife through butter. It was easy.
Yeah. Well,
that was
easy. What I will say. Listen, I'm in agreement with you on the fact that because Dragusin's in, who didn't have a bad game, by the way, in my opinion, but because he's back in the team, if you look at that line for that goal, like I said, it looks like he's playing. He's not played enough. And also, Romero should take a bit of responsibility because one of the centre-backs should be organising the push forward to play the offside or back. And I've had a big crib about this. This isn't perfect, but I've seen lots of improvements since last season. I mean, others might not see it. It's perception. It's subjective. So, and I'll respect everyone's opinion, whether I agree with them or not. And even back at the goal line, right? I mean, Vicario, I want to see him like he did when he first came, distribute the ball a bit more quicker, and he should be shouting as well. So you centre back, one of your main centre back, and as everything goes through Romero, he's the quarterback, and you got Vicario there. Those two, this should be designated. I've seen improvements at the back. I can see where Romando and Nick Montgomery have been working with the team because we look tighter from corners and things like that. We look
much
better.
Much better from corners.
Yeah, much better from corners, right? So when you take it all in second season, I mean, we are a very toxic fan base. Let's be fair. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, if someone says something positive,
what it is, though, why we're so toxic? Because us older
we ain't
fans,
won nothing. That's why, Ellie. We ain't won nothing.
Not only that, us older fans, we've seen us win things, and the younger fans have been starved of success. So their frustration is warranted, and they see this board not backing and strengthening properly in the key positions that we need to strengthen to give these first teamers a run for their money. All right, Odebert's coming, he's 19 years old, Bergvall's 18, Archie Gray is 18, and the boy Yang, who we don't get until January, and then we got the Voskovic, the young 17-year-old. I think he's turned 17 now. So like Mark says, it's like a kindergarten, right? But it's a kindergarten that might bear fruits later. But we needed to strengthen the first team squad. We really did. Solanke's the only one that we've brought in that's going to get more minutes than everybody else because he's going to be our main striker, isn't he? So it would have been nice for the board to put their money where their mouth is and show some ambition.
Well, we don't show any.
But we don't
show
it's not our fault. We don't buy the players. We just do the critique. Kevin, you haven't said anything for a little while. Have you got anything to say?
I've not got anything to say. I found myself agreeing, disagreeing with people in equal measures. So with Ian, I agree with him about Brennan Johnson. I disagree with him about other bits and pieces, and the same with Deji. But I've defended Johnson all the way through, and then he let me down against Everton. Surprisingly enough, as a game he let it down. But someone else put in there, he's an impact sub, and I think he probably is. When he comes on, he's always good. When he comes on, even if it's in the middle of the second half, or as he did at the weekend at the start of the second half, he always makes an impression when he comes on like that. And perhaps that's how we should be using him all the time rather than starting. Because when he starts, he seems to not quite be on it maybe or something. But when he comes on, he's there to prove something.
I feel that.
Romero has been frustrating me, and he gave away the ball quite a few times with sloppy passes against Newcastle. And Vicario, his distribution was like Lloris's on against Newcastle. It was pathetic.
I agree.
I agree with you, Kevin, on Romero. And another interesting thing, it draws a parallel with the last time he came back from an Argentinian competition he won. He started his season. And he's done the same thing this season. We know he's a quality player. All defenders will make mistakes during the season that will probably lead to goals. There's other players will as well. But he hasn't had the best start to the season. Positional awareness or his IQ hasn't been on point. And he's just come back from another successful Argentina win.
You said that word, Adrian.
Oh,
you did say it.
I did say it. Sorry.
Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered.
just because you're head honcho, there's no favoritism around here.
Okay, all right. I'm not head honcho.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honcho being the hot operative word.
Well, he's the head honcho.
Yeah. I think Deji's gone, is he? He's gone.
Yeah. What Deji put in the private chat, he was only coming up till 9.
Right, that's okay. We're getting back. He's all right. He's gone.
He's gone to put the 18-year-olds to bed.
And others on. Well, everyone's welcome on the show as long as they're mature and sensible. We don't allow people insulting each other. You can have a different opinion. It doesn't bother me.
Oh, hang on.
Opinion to me.
What fun is it if we all have the same opinion?
Well, yeah.
Well, then we shut down the podcast. You know what I mean? So
yeah, everybody go home, pack it up. We're all.
Have you got anything else to say on this? Because I want to move on to the Europa Cup draw.
I just want to. I walked away for a second, so I don't know if I said it, but I think the players at some point need to take some of the blame, and we probably have been giving it to them. But we talked about other managers. We talked about Mourinho. We talked about Conte. Those are the two that always come up. I know we made it to a cup final in that time, but we weren't exactly winning trophies left, right, and center with those guys either. So I don't know if it's purely a manager problem, if it's the players themselves, if it's it's a lot of everything. I think it's much of a muchness. I just don't think that. I don't know to pin everything, and I don't know. I don't think everybody is. Not you guys. I'm not saying it's you, but I'm on Twitter a lot, which is like not a good thing to do.
No,
yeah.
I don't go on there.
I probably ought to just not. But if you, I mean, it's the players don't ever get any blame on there. So
who is that with all the feedback that's going? Because it's not me, because I sorted it out.
Let me try and see if it's me.
Ability.
Right, I want to come, Charlie. I want to come to you, yeah, Charlie.
Oh, I just found out a very depressing fact. It's going to take 15 years for me to 25 years for me to attend an away match. I don't have the points yet. So goodness me, guys.
All right, with the points. Well, look, we've got. I'll give you.
I'm glad it's not me. I'll be dead by then.
Before we go on at first, I mean, the club have announced today that tickets will come available, right, for the Europa League game against Karabag, who other podcasts were calling Carrier Bag, right? Europa League phase fixture, right? Tickets are £30 for adults.
No. There's still that feedback. Hang on a minute, Adrian. That Colin's just put in the chat. He's muted, so it's not you, Colin. There's still feedback going on. It's not me, is it?
No.
Because I just hear some sort of nonsense going on.
Right, so they've announced it today. So those of you in the chat that are interested in going, that I mean, like it'll be £30 for adults for the Karabag game and £18 for juniors and under 18s.
That's £5
that's it.
Last time.
Tickets. The sale dates for this. Well, you can go and look yourself. I won't read through all of this on this, right? Because I want to go on to the Europa League Cup draw right now. Here's the banners.
Yeah. Right,
this is our draws. I've put the home and aways and the times of the games. Obviously, the 5 Rangers is classed as a home game. So we've got 5 8 p.m. kickoffs and 5 away game, 5:45 kickoffs. The actual teams we've drawn, Charlie. Good 8 to draw, mate? Confident?
I'm happy. Yeah, there's a couple of hard ones in there. I'd say Rangers away is not going to be easy. Galatasaray away is not going to be easy, and Roma at home is not going to be easy. So we've got 3 matches I'm not too sure about. But to be honest, I'm happy with the other 5. I think we got a pretty lucky draw. If you look at the other teams, if you look at what AZ Alkmaar, all those teams drew, it's way harder for them. So I think we had a pretty relatively easy draw. But it's not going to be easy. We're not going to run through this. It's going to be a mix. I think we're going to win against Karabag. We'll win against Ferrocanos. We'll win against Alkmaar, and then against Galatasaray, it'll start to get hard.
Oh man, you said we're going to win against some of those teams, and I feel like it's definitely we definitely could lose them. But no, I
Can I just ask the question? Can I just ask the question? We're not going to go through that. Thing
no, we're not. I'm going to go.
Where none of us had a clue where any of them were from.
Yeah, that's right.
And what we knew about the teams and that, because to be honest, Adrian, I found that quite funny. I found that quite funny because, like Roma, I said, well, they're in Rome.
I think I know what I'm doing. Right, Colin, as you were speaking, your take on the 8 teams we've got.
Well, we could. So there were some teams named off that that on paper seem like they should be easy wins for us, but it doesn't take a long memory to to remember some teams we've lost again that we lost against. Words are hard. That we definitely should have beaten. Where don't make fun of me. Sorry, but the team where their manager was in prison.
Zagreb.
Yeah, Zagreb. We've played Karabakh before. I think we did beat them then, to be fair.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. These aren't guaranteed wins. I think it is a good draw. I'm excited. I'm actually excited for the tougher matches as well. Of course, you want to see what you guys, what your guys can do against, what Europe has to offer. It should be good, but nothing's a guaranteed win. I wouldn't be surprised to see us drop silly points and maybe get some scalps that you wouldn't expect us to get. So, yeah, it's exciting. But I'm always a bit apprehensive with the way the team's been playing for the past few years in Europe. So we'll see. We couldn't do it we couldn't win the Europa Conference League, but who knows? I'm not writing us out of anything. I'm just saying nothing is a guaranteed win. So
Kevin, your take on the 8 teams we draw, then I'll come to Ian. You're muted, Kevin.
Try again now. This is my bloody IT is terrible. I'm quite happy with the 8 teams. Before the draw, I said we were almost certain to get Roma and Rangers, and we did. But I think Galatasaray's suddenly got harder, hasn't it? Because who they've bought just recently, Osimhen. But I think I would hope we get through. I mean, I would hope we finish in the top 8 of that league to be able to go through to the knockout phase without having to do the qualifying games as well. I mean, that's what you've got to be. It's got to be your aim, isn't it, on this one? I don't know whether when you get through to the knockouts, whether there's any seeding in the knockouts, so that top 8 get play against the then qualifiers. I don't know.
I haven't looked into that part. I mean, like you say, it's the top 8 throughout in all those that have got all their 8 teams to play. Who gets accumulate the most points? Maybe I don't even know if it goes down to goals for or whatever. Because there's no head-to-head, are there? So I don't know what happens, but I just know that I mean we should make the 8. I mean, even otherwise it's playoffs from 19 to 24. So basically, we're trying to qualify from 24 teams, basically.
Yeah.
Ian, your take on the 8 teams?
So on the other team, well, firstly, I think we're in the mix with 4 or 5 other clubs to win it this year.
Yeah,
we should be.
We should be. With Sociedad, United, Porto, Ajax, maybe. I don't know where Ajax are now. I'm sure they've got to be in a much better place than they were last year. As far as these games are concerned, I'd be disappointed if we didn't win the 4 home games. I think Hoffenheim and Rangers are very winnable. Ferencváros, I'm being told, have got quite a few new players who are very good. So they're a bit of an unknown quantity. Galatasaray might be the game we come unstuck. And if you've got someone like Osimhen piling through a high line, I think it's going to be asking for big trouble. So I think we'll finish in the top 8 and qualify straight away. I think we'd maybe win 5, draw 2, lose 1.
Right, okay. Mark, do you think Daniel Levy will tell Postecoglou to go all out for the Europa League, because that's another way, apart from top 4 or 5, if the English clubs do well, of getting in the Champions League next season?
Well,
rather than the FA Cup or the League Cup? I'm being tongue.
Well, the FA Cup and the League Cup don't get you Champions League football, does it?
No, I'm being facetious.
You know what I mean? No.
Might be a point, because I think we're going to do really well in the competition.
Yeah, but let's face it, Daniel Levy's ultimate goal is Champions League football. That's all he's interested in, to bring the dollars through the door, or the pounds, or the euros, whatever it is. But to be honest, I agree with what's already been said. Well, firstly, the second game is actually on my birthday, So I just put that out there. Was it Fenerbahce or something?
Spurs Forest.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, them. That's actually on my birthday, so I should be staying in to watch that because I don't think any of the pubs around here has got whatever it's on these days.
Electricity?
TNT. Well, electricity would be a start. Electricity would be a start. But no. So I should be staying in to watch that and getting some tennies. But surely we should. Surely we should be getting top 8. I mean, if we don't do that, then we're even worse than I thought. You know what I mean? I mean, if we can't finish top 8, seeing as I've not looked at the betting on the favourites for it or anything like that, but surely we must be one of the favourites to win the damn thing.
Yeah, with Man United and Roma, you would think, wouldn't you? That's
and so if we can't get top 8, then you think what was the sense in qualifying for it in the first place? But I believe if there's any game that we're going to lose, I believe it's going to be Galatasaray away. Because let's face it, that's like a war zone at the best of times. Not, just for the hostility factor in the crowd. The flares and the fireworks and Lord knows what goes on in them. Because can you remember during the documentary when we were away somewhere it was that Tottenham, the documentary that was on Prime or whatever it was on. Like, we were away when Jose was manager, and we were away in somewhere in Turkey, and it was like a war zone. Not necessarily people firing guns, but like the fireworks and the atmosphere is really hostile. And so I can see us struggling against Galatasaray. I believe we'll beat Rangers, even if it is away.
It's Besiktas.
Yeah. But it was really hostile, wasn't it? I mean, there was a tunnel that went on for about a mile, and all the fans was like banging on the tunnel. It's really hostile. And so if we're going to crack under any game, it'll be that one. Yeah. All the rest of it, I can see us winning.
Was it as bad as Twitter or social media?
As well,
I'll be honest with you. I do have a Twitter account, but I never ever look at it because there's just too much poison on there. Right. I don't post anything on there.
I get baited into an argument.
Stop spreading it, Mark. You got to stop spreading it. Ellie, happy with the draw?
I don't post anything on Twitter because you just get called an idiot and a fool, and it just starts like a civil war. And so I don't even look at it. I might actually close my account down.
Ellie, are you happy with the draw?
If butts and monkey nuts, as Kate says, you don't know because there's teams that are going to surprise us. And we'll think we're comfortable against them, and we'll probably lose. And then there's teams where we think we're not going to win, and we will win. I think that the most hostile one is going to be Galatasaray. And they've got a very decent team. They really have. They've been buying left, right and centre. So they've strengthened their squad quite amply. So I just feel, I don't think we're going to qualify. I think we're probably even the first or second best team in that 8. So I just don't want us to be embarrassed and have a Hugo Lloris moment where he gets calls at everybody, and then I just don't want to be embarrassed. I want us to fly through with flying colours and actually don't give a good account of ourselves and make sure we don't give stupid goals away and bloody stay focused for the whole of that 8 games. Be focused and make sure we get the results that we're capable of, And I want to see some of the youngsters play as well.
I'll come to that later, actually. I'll come to that later.
Yeah, I do want them to be blooded, especially Michael Moore, because he's an exceptional he's an exceptional talent, sorry. I love him. I think he's brilliant. I watched him against QPR, Adrian. He was cut above every other youngster. And he's not getting a look in because, like you said, he's playing for the under-21s and getting game time. But I would like him to, because I think he's better than what we've got. Even though he's 17, he's better than what we've got. Because first of all, his control is sublime. It's like the ball's part of his body. So I want to see him get his chance because he deserves it.
Charlie, do you think like Danny does that our squad's a bit weak to cope with 4 competitions this year?
Well, we're Spurs, so we're always unlucky with our injuries. I mean, like we had one tournament last year, we were already unlucky. So I mean, like imagine 4. Yeah, I don't know what it means, especially now because we've got 2 strikers and 2 strikers are out. You know, our luck with injuries is like 0. So I feel like there's going to be a bit of an issue around December or around January because our games are just going to round up Boxing Day. You know, like the 5 games in December or the 8 games in December is going to kill us. I think we're going to get a couple of injuries then, and I think there's going to be 2 months that's just going to be a bit of stressful football because we'll be missing out on a striker or a centre back on the left back. You know what I mean? There's always something happening with us.
Colin, squad depth problem, 4 competitions?
Absolutely, but I don't think it's going to be 4 competitions. Sadly, I think we'll probably drop out of some early. I think that to think that we're going to be in the latter stages of all 4 competitions. I mean, obviously the league, but you know what I mean. I think we'll prioritize some over others, and I think we'll probably drop out early-ish, if not regularly or early, in some of these competitions. You know, you'd like to think that Ange would have learned from last season, from the Fulham defeat. You know, and we, won't put out weak squads, but then that brings up the squad depth question. So yeah, no, I don't think we have the depth to do it. I could see us taking maybe one cup competition very seriously, and that's probably going to be Europa League because, like you said, it's an avenue into the Champions League.
The carrot's there, isn't it, with the Europa League? The carrot is being dangled. Win that in.
And it also sounds nice too. I mean, like there's prestige, I guess, because it's especially with the Europa Conference League. Now the Europa League is not seen as such a joke competition because it used to be really second rate, and I mean it still is to the Champions League, but now there's something even worse. So that's good. No, our squad depth is not good. I'll just put it that way. But I don't think that we're going to be seriously competing in all 4 competitions anyway. So is it? And I would like us to be, but you're right. 100%, the depth doesn't allow for it.
Kevin, your take? Squad depth, 4 competitions?
Yeah, well, I think it's all been said. Really, we don't quite know how he's going to play. I mean, yeah, the Fulham game last year was frustrating, but we did go out on penalties, didn't we? So it was a bit strange, but I think seeing what he picks against Coventry now, which is immediately after the Arsenal game, obviously, and so on the Wednesday, that'll be an interesting team, I think, to see whether or not he thinks we're actually going to do anything in the Carabao. And I think there could be quite a few youngsters in that team. It's Coventry, okay, they're the league below us, but in that sense. But I think we have found in the past 2 seasons, because of our injuries more than anything else, we haven't got the squad depth. We've got rid of a lot of players as well, but of course we still meet the the 25-man and the 23-man sort of limits and everything else. So we've got a number of players there. It's just, are they good enough to step up and step in? I suppose. He might even play youth and experience. So David might come in, for instance, in the Carabao and things like that. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I think a lot might depend. If we beat Coventry, what's the draw? Whatever the draw is in the next round, I think it's the classic. We play a game at a time, isn't it? To see how we progress and whether or not we think the squad is deep enough.
Ian, squad depth, big issue for you?
Hasn't been deep enough for 23 years.
Fair enough.
This year's no different.
Fair enough. No, fair enough.
It did for us with Harry. It did for us with Poch, ultimately. It does for us with every manager. And what they haven't done today, I mean, what they haven't done this season, I'm really looking forward to seeing Gray and Bergvall come through for Spurs because I think they'll be terrific. this season.
Admittedly, I know less about Oidebert and Solanke than I do about Graham Birdwell. I've got to be honest about that.
Yeah, but
Go on, Aaron.
But when you look at it, there's 16 players who've left the club, either on loan or full transfers, or sort of free transfers. But only 4 really were playing with some sort of regularity last year out of those 16, which were Emerson, Gio, Skip, and Højbjerg, and we've replaced them with Spence and Solanke. So we're too short there. I believe we're too short on the players that you can register. I'm not talking about the under-21s or the homegrowns.
I know the team 25 has to be registered on the 13th. It's normally 2 weeks, but then the transfer window closed on the 30th this year because the 31st was a Saturday and no one works a Saturday. So it's 14 days from when the transfer window shut. So I think it's before the Arsenal game. That league has got to be registered, so it'll be done before then. So we'll know. We'll have a discussion about the 25 and the makeup, and whether we're penalised for not having the 4 academy trained.
I agree. I agree with Dan on here, Hotspur Hood, that we've got to be lucky with injuries.
Yeah,
I think we do. But I think he's going to be forced into playing. You can't play Porro every match. Spence is going to have to be given a run out in these European games, maybe Coventry. You've got Dragerson who will play, I'm sure, in a lot of these. He's got to bring people like Lancashire in, Mikey Moore. I'm sure Richarlison will get minutes. Graham Bergvall. I'm sure he'll bring Ben Davies in. I'm not sure about the goalkeeper. I don't think he's got much else at the moment apart from Vicario and
who was that young'un? Who was the young'un that played a lot of pre-season?
Well, the kid who is absolutely going to knock it out is a kid called Gunter, who's just signed a contract till 2029. But again, he's not ready for the first team.
Oh,
I think he's
very
19 now.
Very good goalkeeper.
So you got
brilliant size last year.
So you got Forster and Austin.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Austin, he looked sort of half sensible in pre-season.
Well, Whiteman's academy trained as well as Austin.
Yeah, what I don't understand is why we didn't go in for Eze, just and tie the deal up.
I don't think we with those deep. The truth of that might come out. I think it was probably they wanted all the money up front, and Levy said
no, it wasn't. I don't think it was. Listen, there's a release clause. It's there in black and white. They would have seen it. They only had to activate the release clause. And as
the strangest thing about that is you're going to pay overall 65 million for Solanke and 68 million for Eze. So what was the problem then?
60.
Right. So what was the problem then? See, we don't know. This is the puzzle about it. It's what's perplexing. I mean, there's that. So
and
we are where we are with the squad. Go on, Colin.
I was just gonna say too. I mean, I don't know if this was the thing with Eze, but a lot of times people will speak and be like, why didn't we get X or Y player? They have to want to come. And I mean, I'm not saying that, and definitely Crystal Palace is no Spurs. It's a step up to come to Spurs from Crystal Palace for sure. But we've also been kind of known as a place that we don't really let you leave. You come to Spurs, you want to move on. We make it difficult. So if you're one of the better players at Spurs, we're digging in our heels. We're asking maybe more money than you're worth. I don't know. I just feel like we might have become a destination that's not super attractive to players, and we need to fix that ASAP. But I don't know. I just think that also, and I'm not saying that that's the issue with the Eze deal, but I think that with some players, I don't think it's quite as easy as just pay the money, here they come, because they have to want to. They've got offers from other places. Their agents are in their ear saying, "Don't go to Spurs. You're not going to win anything." I don't know. And maybe I'm being a little too negative there, but yeah, that's kind of how I see that.
Can I just jump in?
Of course you can.
Yeah, right. I believe Eze did want to come because, let's face it, we sort of tapped him up with he was supposedly in a box and he's got the same
manager.
Yeah, that word I can't think of because I'm a bit stupid. But he's got the same as a lot of our. Well, he's got the same agent. I thought of it at the same time as you. He's got the same agent as our manager and a lot of our players, and so you can't tell me that. Well, Ian probably knows because he knows everything that goes on at Tottenham. But we definitely made contact with him.
I wouldn't like to say that, but
Well, but you're a lot more insightful than I am. I mean, I'd just like to ask Ian, do you know if there was any contact with Eze?
I know certain things that it's not. It's you read, you hear bits and bats. I've not heard from anybody in the club, and I've not heard from anybody outside the club. But there are certain journalists who come out with news that are pretty good, and he was there to be bought. I mean, the guy's a game changer, absolutely. And
I believe that if we really wanted him, that we could have got him. I personally, I don't know nothing, mind, so let's get this in there straight away. But I believe it was because they wanted 50 million of the 60 up front. And that's probably when Levy said, well, I can't do that. And it never happened. That's only me.
It wasn't that. Ange wanted Gallagher all summer. That was his number one choice.
Okay.
Right. Charlie, come to you. We played Carrier-Bag, if you want to have a laugh, at home on Thursday, the 26th of September. Now, the Man United game has moved back 3 days later to the Sunday. So Spurs fans have been screaming even last season for us to play the youngsters. Now, the way Man United playing the other day, I'd think you'd play the youngsters against Man United and your strong team against Carrier-Bag. But you think this is going to be the start now where we start seeing these youngsters get a lot of game time through this Europa Cup?
Yeah, I think the cup games and the European games are going to really be the start, and like the time we'll see the youngsters shine. I think we'll see. Yeah, I think Archie Gray has to start for me. I think Bergwall has to start for me because we did buy them for, especially Archie Gray bought us for a hefty price, and if we're not going to start him against lower oppositions, then I don't really know why we bought him for 40 million. You know how much I rate Archie Gray, but I think that we need to be starting youngsters now because now it's a good chance against Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce isn't the best team in the world, and we should beat them very comfortably. And to start the team with 3 or 4 youngsters, I think that's perfect. I think we'll let the players have a good first team understanding, and I just say that's the way to go.
We'll come to the team once we've gone round everyone. Kevin, you're expecting youngsters against Carabag?
Yes, basically, I think I am. Home game, as you say, with United sort of straight after. I mean, I'll be there against Carabao. I'll be buying my ticket on Friday. And then I go away on a cruise on the day we play Man United, but I'll be sitting in the bar on the boat watching that game.
Happy days. Happy days, that is happy days.
And then hopefully watching the I think it's a Fenerbahce one, isn't it? On your birthday, I'll still be on the cruise, so I'll be watching that one. And hopefully it'll be on. It might not be on because they only show one game on the boat. And that'll probably be a United game, but we'll see. I think it's start the youngsters against Carabag. Maybe there'll be a mixture. I think it won't be a all-in type thing, will it? There's going to be a sort of mixture of youth.
Can't be. I'll come to a while later. Colin,
and a bit of experience.
Yeah, Colin. Youngsters, what youngsters would you like to see play against Carabag? I know we're picking the team earlier, but it's just a bit of fun.
Yeah. Well, I want to see more of Alfie Devine, just because he's a player I honestly don't know enough about, and would like to see. And would like to see more of him.
Well, on that, just that point, because they were trying to get a loan from him, he's 20, and he wasted a season in his development because he wasn't played at Plymouth last year. There were rumours today that he might be going to Westerlo in Belgium with Vuskovic to play there. They're still trying to look for a loan for him. So the ones I know, and you probably know as well, the two that are really going to be linked with the squad are going to be Mikey
Lancashire
and Lancashire. they will definitely be part of that 25, right? Yeah. So just on the Divine thing, in case you want to go in a different direction.
Well, no, I still, even if that's where he goes, I need to watch him closer because I just don't know enough about the fella. But yeah, Lancashire is a good player. I'm sort of surprised we haven't seen him with our injury problems we've had now. It would be nice to have seen. I honestly think that he might have made us look better against, against Newcastle the other day. We would have had a physical presence, a traditional kind of striker that would have occupied the areas where those crosses are going in. And I heard the same thing today about them telling the players to just get the crosses in. Don't worry about who's there. Don't really worry about. Just get them into the area. And I understand that's frustrating, and I understand why, and it sounds stupid, but had we had a traditional striker with traditional strikers' instincts, maybe we would have finished some of those off.
We don't know, do we? We don't know.
No,
is Lancashire injured? Is Lancashire injured?
He's got a slight hamstring injury. Came off and scored. He did have a slight hamstring injury. So if they do them on grade 1s, the tears, because the muscles run from your back down to your back of your knee. Right, Ellie would know, she's played football. It's not a severe one, so it's probably a pull more than a tear. You don't want to.
Man. Good call. I didn't know that, so now I seem dumb. But yeah, I think we'll see him though in Europa League for sure.
Ian,
I think in terms of the kids, I think under previous managers, you look at the Conference League and the Europa League before, we put out complete second teams, and we lost every time because you had 11 players that had never played a game of football together as a team. So I can't see that happening. I can see maybe 2 or 3 coming in.
And we're going to come to that, Mark.
Well, I do agree with Ian. I don't want to see all the kids because you're just asking for failure.
You won't.
I mean, I want to see a mix and match. Stick, say, I don't know. It depends who's fit, to be honest. But stick Basuma in there, but maybe have Bergvall in there, and or in defence. Have we got any young defenders, or have they all gone out on loan?
Well, actually,
I don't know.
Stoke, he was man of the match during the last game he played.
Well, all right. But I'd like to see.
Solomon was best player at Leeds over the weekend as well. That's typical.
Yeah, I'd like to see. Put it this way: the keeper doesn't really matter because they don't do a lot of running about anyway. So if Cario plays, as long as no one kicks him in the head or something, you know what I mean, and he gets injured, then you could play for Cario. But I'd like to see 4 maybe come in. 4 of the sort of, we got to call them squad players, but the youngsters come in, but have some experience in there as well that can guide them. Because there's no point in just chucking a load of kids out there because they got no guidance. You want people with experience to sort of talk them through the game and sort of say, you here, sort of just guidance.
Ellie?
Yeah.
Youngsters, how many? 1, 2 more?
I'd like Mikey Moore to start. Bergvall, obviously, because I'm Queen Nelly Bergvall. So my boy has to start. I would like to see Jamie Donnelly start because he's got a pass on him, the boy.
He's at Orient,
Alone at Orient with Josh Keeley.
Oh, that's a shame, man.
And another one who played really well. They said
forward, for him.
I've been going on about his forward passes for the under-21 area, he splits defences and all that.
Yeah.
Well, his passes were too good for the Orient players apparently the weekend. They were saying he was putting killer through ball passes through, slipping them in, and they were just too
stacked.
Yeah, reminded when Ardiles came to Spurs, he was doing the same thing.
Develop his game. They obviously see that he's a top talent, right? And they sent him to Leighton to learn because that league is not easy. You can pick up so many injuries in that league as well, with late tackles and all that. But I'd like to see 3 start because Jamie Donnelly, I would put in Archie Gray because I see a player there. I know he's getting a lot of criticism that he's not ready, he's not Prem proven. But one thing he has got, he's got a fabulous history behind him with a fantastic family who support him all the way. And I think the fans will warm to him because he's a fighter. He's a little terrier. He'll get stuck in. He's quite a physical specimen for an 18-year-old, 6'2", and he'll fight for us, you know. And he's got a point to prove as well because a lot of expectation is there for him as well. So he's got to live up to that. Other than that, I think, I agree with Mark. The older ones have to step up as well. And the youngsters, if we do start 3, I think we're on to a winner because those 3, barring Jamie Donnelly, who I forgot in the Leighton Orient, I think they'll do very well, and I think they'll give a massive account of themselves. And I just hope we don't embarrass ourselves, like I said before. I just hope that we stay focused and make sure that we get the results that we're capable of getting. Yeah.
Right, for a bit of fun, people in talking about our team.
That's what I'm talking about, the fun.
Talking about 25, we don't know what it's going to be. Obviously, there'll be a B list as well. But being at the regular teams that you know that in the squad, and you know that Burville and Gray are going to be additions to this anyway. We got Odeberg. I want all of us together to pick the worst 11 out of that squad. Right?
Oh my God.
The worst 11, right? Because I think you're going to struggle. Well, you won't struggle probably at the back and at the front. You might struggle in midfield. So if we said we picked Forster in goal.
Well, he's definitely in goal because the 2 youngsters are better than him.
Especially because of penalties.
Who's left back?
Yeah.
In this worst team out of the squad we got. Who's left back?
Well, left back you put Spence because that's playing him out of position.
Yeah.
And as he proved in the games against Bayern Munich, he's not quite ready for left back yet. So I'd put Spence at left back in the worst team.
Would you?
But
was a problem at right back then.
I was just about to say that does cause the worst right back problem.
Well, yeah. So you could. Who else have we got? I mean, you could put Dragerson at right back.
Yeah, you could
put Gray there. Gray
might
right
actually
back.
do a good job.
He played well when he played at right back. So, you know, it is just difficult picking the worst team, isn't it? But because have you got enough cover to pick the worst team? But yeah, I still think I'll put Spencer at the left back. I think, and then you know you're putting Davis in the middle.
Well, okay, fine. Ian, you're left back. Why you do the right back as well? Because we'll have fun. The worst 2 out of the squad we got.
Worst 2 fullbacks, Jesus.
Well, let's not call them the worst 2. They are players. I suppose all the players and the managers, while they're at the club, will always do that until they're gone, you know?
Crikey. Spence, I suppose, right back. I would have put Davis at left back, but I suppose you're going to put him in the centre, haven't you?
Why?
Well, if you're going to take Romero and Mickey out, then I suppose you're going to play Dragerson and Davis in the middle.
But you could play Gray at centre back. You played at centre back in the pre-season friendlies, and you'd still have your fullbacks.
I'd probably play Gray in midfield, I think.
Okay. Charlie, did I come to you, Colin? Colin, you're worst. Come on, left back and right back. We get a general idea. It's not written in stone, but just give you an idea.
I think Ben Davis would probably be my worst left back right now, which sucks because I actually really like Ben Davis. But I mean, he's getting on.
I'm not saying it's that bad. I'm talking about, you know.
Yeah.
I'm saying worst team. I don't really mean it that way. Who would be the ones that you wouldn't pick? But the ones that you know.
Yeah. Davis.
Let's say lesser picks rather than worse players. The lesser picks, big kinds of.
Davis at left, Jed Spence at right.
Mm-hmm. Charlie, who would you pick? Left back.
I'd go Davis left, Jed Spence right. But to be honest, we don't have another left back. We don't really have another right back. You could say Archie Gray, but he isn't really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is not easy, is it?
No.
We'll come through the midfielders and the centre backs after we do this. This is fun. Mark, Are you picking at left back and right back? And don't
Well,
say
obviously-
Danny Rose and Carl Walker, all right? Because I know what you're like.
Well, no. Well, let's face it, they were fantastic when they were with us. Both of them. They certainly wouldn't be in my worst. With the current lot, you're going to have to put... Yeah, but then again, it's like, it's been discussed. If you put Jed Spence left back, who the hell are you putting right back?
Yeah.
You know, so, all right, put Jed Spence
Brendan
as...
wants to drop back.
Well, yeah. You could put... actually, I've just seen a comment. I'm not cheating, but I have seen it.
Yeah, it's allowed. It's a bit of fun. It's allowed.
Yeah. No, there we go. That's the one. That's the one. Regulon left back, Spence right back.
Yeah, before the Scandinavian transfer window, the Saudi Arabian transfer window, and the Turkish transfer window are closed. Yeah? I think he's going to Turkey. Ellie, left back and right back. Come to centre backs there.
I don't like to do this to Davies, but it's not my cup of tea.
He's got more money than you. Don't worry about it.
He's a hard-working player, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't got all the minerals. And he makes a lot of mistakes. His pace he's never had blistering pace, so he's got to be the worst left back. And then the right back, that's hard because I like Jed Spence. I think he's got potential. But
you can pick him.
I'm not going to put Dragusin in because I like Dragusin, so I suppose I have to go with Jed Spence.
Yeah, I'll go. I'll join in. I won't bottle it. I'll go Davies and Jed Spence. Charlie, give me two centre backs. Come on.
Well, centre backs, we've got two options really. So I'll go for Archie Gray and Dragusin. That's the only two options we really got.
Well, Colin, you're in agreement.
That was what I was going to say as well.
Kevin, you going for Archie Gray and Dragusin as centre backs?
Yeah, go with that one.
Ian?
I've got my team written down if you want to hear it.
No.
I saw you getting a pad of paper. That's what I thought you were doing.
Save it because we'll come round to it. Save it. Just give us a second.
Anyway.
For me, all right. Let me readjust my fullbacks so you got context. My back five would be Whiteman, Spence, Dragusin, Davis, and Reguilon.
Okay.
Reguilon.
Mark's gone. I don't know. He's probably going to get a drink. Ellie, who's your centre backs?
Oh God.
No, I'm here.
Okay. What? Go on, Mark.
No. Go on, Ellie. Go on, Ellie. It's your turn.
Said you can go, Mark. Go on.
Oh, all right. Yeah, it's got to be. I'm not saying this because I'm not saying this just because. Well, I do like the player, but it's got to be Archie Gray in defence because he's not a defender, and it's got to be Dragusin, even though I like him as well.
Okay, Ellie.
Yeah, I suppose there's no one else really. So
No, that's it.
You're resting VDV and Romero. You're not. No.
The others are better, and no, Dorrington hasn't broken through yet. And I wouldn't want to put him because he's a young boy. But yeah, it'll have to be those two because it's hard though because they're not that bad players.
Right, I'm picking the same two because I don't think there's any other choice. Charlie, give me a midfield three. Go on, Ellie. Carry on if you've got something to say.
No, I'm just saying there's nobody else, is there?
Right.
Yeah.
Charlie, your midfield three.
Bergvall, Devine, and
I don't think. Okay.
I know Devine isn't gone. He isn't gone yet, so I'll just say he's still there.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
all right.
Because otherwise, it's just going to be a starting 11 except for Bergvall. So I'll say
lose another year in his development if he stays. Yeah, go on.
I'll say I'll add Pat Matasar because he had a bit of a rough games for him.
Okay. With who?
Throw him under the bus.
With Bergvall and Devine. Or we're not going to count Devine. Then if we don't count Devine, then Audibert.
In midfield?
I'd play him as a central attacking midfielder.
Okay. Colin, your midfield three?
It's tough because, but anyway, you'd have to put in. It'd have to be the two new boys, Archie Gray, and Wow. Why is thinking hard? Bergvall. Sorry, Ellie. Don't.
And aren't you growing your back four, Colin? You can't play him in two positions. Is it?
I know where you live.
Bergvall. Can I be controversial? I don't. He's been good at the start of this season, but I would put Bergvall. Oh, this is tough. I don't know. I'll have to agree with Charlie.
That's a cop out, isn't it? Eh?
It's a big one. Biggest of all cop outs. So
I bet Ian's got his right. Ian,
it's probably something special too. I want to hear Ian's.
Divine Graham Bergvall.
Right, because you didn't put Gray in his back four.
Correct.
Mark, your midfield three.
Now, Gray is in my back four. So, unfortunately, even though he's looked right, he's not done 90 minutes yet, but he has looked tasty. Bergvall's got to get in because we don't know about him. We haven't seen enough yet.
How much laughing gas has Bissouma done in this scenario?
But he's improved since he's been on that. I hope he does it a bit more.
I hope he's doing more. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we want him to do a few more balloons. But not get caught and put it on social media this time. Right. So, who did I say? Bergvall. I'd put Pape Sarr in there because he's not really ripped up any trees. He just runs about a lot. I don't think he actually does much. He just runs about a lot. And one more. Bergvall, Sarr. Oh, this is getting difficult now. Well, to be honest, well, no, he's done a bit. Who else is the youngsters? Put them in. Any youngster.
Any youngster, Mikey Moore?
No. He's good. He's good allegedly. I ain't seen nothing of him. I'll put myself in there because I'd last 5 minutes and I'd have to come off on a stretcher.
I don't know if I'd last 5 minutes. So, Mark, congrats. I don't know if I would last long.
All right, 2 minutes then. I was just bigging myself up a bit.
Oh, shit.
Hey,
You last 10.
I'm not putting Bergvall in. That's one thing for sure. Right, I would put Bissouma because he's so inconsistent and he was our worst midfielder last season. Disappointment, getting sent off twice, doing all these misdemeanors, and he's kicked off this season with doing the Ballouma. All right, he had the decent game against West Ham and he played once against Newcastle, so he's got to be. And I wouldn't put Sarr. I'll put because I've already put Gray in defence, haven't I?
Yeah. This is where I was struggling.
I don't know.
Well, if it's a squad, we've got 6 midfielders. You can pick 3 of the regular 6.
Even though he was our best midfielder last season, he still wasn't brilliant. So I put Bissouma, Sarr, because I think the youngsters are better than them. Well, who else is there?
Benton Core?
No, I'm not putting him in there. He's our best one. Should I put Gray in again? Put him in double.
No.
I'm not going to choose Bergvall, so I'm going to choose.
That's why I picked myself, Ellie.
What about Divine, Ellie?
Divine, I like him. All right, I'll put Alfie Divine, even though I think Bergvall's got a better feeling than Alfie Divine. I know that might sound controversial, but I think he's got more about him. And he's more physically apt for the Premiership at this stage. Yeah, so yeah. I like Alfie Divine though. I think Gordon Payton's going to pull me up after this. I'm going to get a phone call. It might be a nice one either.
Yeah.
I think the midfield's probably. I think the midfield's probably the hardest.
Yeah, it is.
I think the front three is going to pick itself. I think we're all going to say the same.
Maybe not. For midfield, I'll play Sarr, Bergvall, and Johnson. Mikey did for Forest.
Oh, I suppose.
I'm safe in Johnson's front three.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Charlie, your front three.
Timo Werner.
Yeah.
He's going to feature a lot.
Brennan Johnson.
Yeah.
And now it's hard. So I'll say Richarlison. No, I haven't seen Solanke play for us yet. So now Solanke is the worst because he hasn't scored a goal. So I'll say Solanke, but he isn't the worst. But I don't really know what to say. You know what I mean? We've got 5 attackers and they're all decent. And they're not. There's two decent ones being Brennan Johnson and Werner, and the rest are all class. I say.
You think Johnson is? You think Johnson is like good?
I think he's decent.
My goodness. Well, yeah. Oh, yes. I completely agree with you on that. But he's not a starter.
No, but that's why I'm saying he's decent. I mean,
Okay. I was gonna. My head was gonna blow off then for a minute.
They're joining in the chat, which is good. We've got Sar Gray Bergval. We've got
Boo.
Colin, give me a midfield three.
I'm getting it with
So
Bergval, Devine, Bentancur.
Werner, Johnson, and Rich Hendrickson up front.
Yeah, Rich Hendrickson. That's funny.
Yeah, that's my 3. For Richarlison, I just can't stay fit.
Kevin, you're free.
Well, I'd go controversial here. I'll go Werner, Richarlison, but an Odegaard at the moment.
Ooh.
It is controversial. I like it though.
Cool. That's a jab in the ribs, isn't it?
Well, he did play
Is it?
In your front three.
At the moment, he had one good game and one anonymous game, didn't he? So
Yeah.
Well,
I suppose, yeah. I was expecting everyone to say the same 3, though. I'm surprised.
Ian, your front three.
Werner on the left. I think he's the worst player we got on the left side because he hasn't played yet for the first team. Although I think he will be number 2 after Solanke. Probably within a few months, I will play Lancashire. And if we're talking about the worst on the right, personally, I prefer more to Odegaard as a player. So I will play Odegaard on the right-hand side.
Mark?
See, this is amazing. So I just thought it was going to be, let's not mess about, it's Werner, Rich Hendrickson. I'm stealing that off Colin. And Johnson. I was expecting everyone to say them 3. I'm amazed there's been some more options thrown in there.
Ellie?
Vina. That's my name, Werner. Werner, he's rubbish. Honestly, he's so bad. He's unbelievably bad. And he's getting 160 odd passing time. I wouldn't put Richarlison because I like Ricky Smith too much. And I see him at the pub and he's going to kick me in the tooth. So I'm going to put Odegaard because he was very disappointing against Newcastle. He was pants as well. And I would put in the middle. Oh my God, who are we going to put?
Johnson in the middle.
I'm going to put Solanke because I don't beat him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going Werner, Richarlison because at least he can put the ball in the net when he's fit. And Odegaard, again, I'd play him on the other side like he did against against Newcastle. So, is it really that all-4 team if they're on song and all playing well? The defence a bit squeaky, but that's good fun. Right, I think, unless you guys want to talk about anything else, I think that will do it. And it's been a good show. I want to thank all the guests. I want to thank everyone in the chat.
Ain't you doing the favourite players in that? Because I had some prepared this week.
Oh, you want to do that, do you?
Well, obviously I'm not going to do Gary Mabbott because I do that every show. But I've got another one. I've got it prepared.
Yeah, let's do it, Adrian. Let's do it.
All right, fair enough.
It only takes 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's quite fun as well.
Okay,
I know who I'm putting in. Can I go first, being I'm a lady?
Right, let me do what the questions are. Normally at this time to use in the chat, and you can join in the chat as well. We do a few fun questions for guests. If we've got a debutant, we normally ask them how they become a Spurs fan. But there's 3 other questions we ask them. Apart from that, we ask every week, normally their guests, we ask them to name a favourite Spurs player. It's a different one each week. We ask them to choose a particular Spurs victory, and we ask them to select a special goal. So, Mark, or Ellie, I don't
Special what? Jim?
A special goal. Select a special goal. One of your favourite goals. Don't have to be your best ever goal, you think. Just a favourite goal. There's so many, aren't there, right? So, different favourite player each week because we've had hundreds. And like I say, and a special victory, one that you think, yes, probably over Arsenal, most of them, I suppose. But Mark, if you've done your homework, you go first. What?
No. Ellie said she wanted to go first.
Ellie, sorry, ladies first.
Favourite player, I would put Tony Galvin. I absolutely adore Tony Galvin. I think he was fantastic. And that run he did in the cup final.
I see it now. Can you find the back of my shirt? Oliver Bentancur, Bergvall, Galvin.
Add Galvin to it.
That's £2 a letter, mine. That's £2 a letter.
He was such a good player. And we got him from we picked him up from a non-league team, didn't we? Was it
Galltown, I think it was, wasn't it?
Galltown? Yeah, Galltown.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Well, remember Kevin?
What's testament to him is Glenn Hoddle spoke about him very fondly at a charitable event I attended. He's a fantastic player. I loved him.
Got a degree in Russian as well.
A game. I've got to name a game. Okay, right. I'll name. Right, there's so many, but I liked that Man United game where Glenn Hoddle scored that fantastic volley. That was such an exciting game. And Man United were the bee's knees then, so we beat them 2-1 if I recall. Yeah, but that Glenn Hoddle goal was sublime. Just for that goal, I mean, the game was brilliant as well. I remember it well. Right, and what else do I have to do? I've forgotten.
That was it, wasn't it?
Favourite goal, particular Spurs victory, and name a favourite Spurs player. They're the 3 questions.
I've done it, haven't I?
Yeah.
Okay. Mark.
That's why. Right now, I've actually prepared this week because you sent me a couple of games, Adrian.
Oh yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yes,
Which
and I.
Which game, Glenn?
Sounds like you guys are cheating.
No, well, it's sort of cheating, but normally, Adrian warns me you got to pick your favourite player, your favourite goal, and I do no research whatsoever. And my favourite player is obviously Gary Mabbott every time I'm on it. And so like we're moving away from that this week. My favourite player, I'm going to go for Aaron Lennon.
Ooh,
Aaron Lennon, yeah, right, because the couple of videos or the couple of thumbnails that Adrian sent me, it just reminded me of how absolutely fantastic. Now, if we could do with a player in this current team that could cross the ball, we need him more than anything. If we could sort of reincarnate him, well, not reincarnate him because that means he's dead, but you know, sort of go back 15 years and have him come in his prime, we'd score a hatful because what a delivery of the ball he had. And how fast was he as well? You know, I mean, there's one reason why I've only ever bought one England shirt and they were on offer and I got 19 Lennon on the back. And that reminded me of why I did it because he was fantastic. Right, so that's the player.
They don't make wingers anymore.
What was the game I sent you? Was it the 9-1 Wigan?
It was. Well, that's the game, actually. That is the game, actually. No. That is the game. That is the game because leading on from Aaron Lennon, in that game, now you never sent me this, so I did actually do my homework and I watched it and I counted them up. Yes, I've actually prepared, Adrian. I know it's amazing, but Aaron Lennon in that game scored and got 3 assists. and they were all pinpoint crosses. I mean, obviously, I watched that game at the time, but you know, it was fantastic. And my favourite goal, coming on to the last bit, also comes from that game, and it's David Bentley's free kick that was Gaza-esque to make it 8-1 to us. Because I forgot all about that goal, and when I saw that, I thought, yeah, I've just got my 3 questions in that game.
Charlie, name a favourite player, choose a particular victory, select a special goal.
So, favorite player is Prime Dele Alli. Prime Dele Alli was seriously one of my favorite players to watch. He was seriously those couple of games, those couple of years that he was doing amazing. It was amazing. Like the Real Madrid win, goodness me, how he played. But my favorite win, well, it's got a bit of a backstory. So in Holland, I go to school and we've got a couple of expats and they all support Arsenal. So this day we went for a skiing trip and we took the bus in the evening and Arsenal, it was Tottenham versus Arsenal on that game. So my favourite victory was us winning on that bus and just rubbing in their face the whole way there that we won against Arsenal.
That feels nice, doesn't it? It feels nice.
I really love that. I think my favourite goal is Wanyama, that massive strike. I forgot against
Anfield.
Yeah,
Anfield.
That strike of him, bang.
Probably still up in the air someplace. That ball.
Yeah. Well, it nearly took the net off.
Oh no, he nearly broke the net. Honestly, what a great
Did he
goal.
score one at home like that against Man United when we played Man United?
Yeah, he scored the screamer like that. But that was out of the blue, that one against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Bang!
Just hit, bang.
That was
Colin.
Yo.
Name favourite Spurs player, choose a particular victory, select a special goal.
Okay, so favorite Spurs player is Moussa Dembele. That's just going to be my answer every time. I think it's impossible not to. He was something else. Bought as a striker, turned into a midfielder. Honestly, one of the best ball carriers I've ever seen, best dribblers I've ever seen. Win would probably be. And it's not just because I'm American, but the fact that this guy's American kind of makes it funnier. But Clint Dempsey helping us get our first win at Old Trafford in how long? I don't know. I don't remember honestly how long the drought was, but Clint Dempsey scored the winner at Old Trafford. That was pretty fun. We beat him twice in the same season, and one of them was in the snow and one of them wasn't. And I can't remember if we played. I think it was in the snow. Yeah, and that was really cool, really fun. And Clint Dempsey was one of those players where like he either scored a goal or didn't do anything the entire match, but he scored in that one, and that was cool. And then so favorite player, game, and what?
Favourite Spurs player, choose a particular Spurs victory, select a special Spurs goal.
Special Spurs goal would probably be the same one. The Clint Dempsey goal. Mainly just because of the significance. The goal itself wasn't like wild. In fact, I think it was on the ground. But anyway, it was just it meant a lot at the time.
Ian.
This is very much. I think all these selections are based on your age.
Yeah,
probably.
Really?
Wait till you hear mine.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite player, Mr. Hoddle.
Oh,
Favorite victory, 1981 Cup Final, Ricky Villa. Special goal. 91 semi-final, Gascoigne against Arsenal.
Chose that one already. Brilliant goal.
I wasn't alive then, so I've got no idea what happened.
Yes, you know. Oh, I say, that's his schoolboy's old stuff.
I certainly know what happened. That day. Yeah. I was 1 month at hospital watching it at home.
Chris Peters.
Yes, boys, I do. Oh, I think Barry Davies' commentary in that was
Brilliant.
fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
brilliant. And he's a big Spurs fan, Barry Davies.
He was.
You know what it's like? It's that you always remember what's his name from BT Sports with Mora's winning goal in Amsterdam.
Yes.
That commentary as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And Jermaine Genius going, he couldn't
Yeah.
speak.
Jermaine Genius is speechless.
Yeah. And Glenn Hoddle in the studio.
I thought we were going to give him another heart attack.
He'd only just had one heart attack, and he nearly had another one because Les Ferdinand was like bear hugging him. No, not Les Ferdinand. The Man United
Rio Ferdinand.
Rio Ferdinand.
The other question we should have had
Go on.
is best individual day with Tottenham, because it may not necessarily be a game.
I don't get where you're going.
Oh, do you mean
Elaborate
the
on the
best moment that you've had as a Spurs fan?
Best experience as a Spurs fan.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
We'll have to add that probably to the list. Kevin, give me a
Right. Okay. So this is the third time I've done this, and I've gone Hoddle, Bill as my two before. So I'm sticking in the 60s and 70s, and because his name's come up a lot over the last week, I'm gone for my favourite left back, Cyril Knowles, as my favourite player. And I'm sticking with one game for the goal and the victory, and it was his goal in 2-1 victory against Man United at the Lane, game I was at, and he scored a free kick in the first half to put us 2-1 up, and that free kick featured on the opening credits of Match of the Day for the whole of the following season. And so it's always been there, and it's always been etched in my brain. It was the only time I saw George Best live that game as well, and he scored against us to make it 1-1 after Chivers had put us in front. It was 73, so that's where I'm going for on that one.
Fair play.
I'm going to pick
Martin Chivers.
my game, which none of you will know, probably.
Surprise.
Too young.
We weren't doing too well. We were playing Burnley at the Lane in the FA Cup. Right, we won 4-3. My memory serves me right. Gilzine scored a hat trick, I'm sure, and we were behind, I think, twice in the game or whatever. I might have to film somewhere. If I do, I'll put it up. Yeah, and my favourite player then would be Alan Gilzine.
Yeah, what a great player.
When he was young, superb player.
Tell you a story.
Let's get a story.
On that point, Adrian, I'll tell you a story.
Go on.
I went to school with a couple of guys, mad Spurs fans, a year older than me. And one of them, his father was in business with Dave Mackay. Do you remember Dave Mackay ties on 760?
Yeah, 760.
Yeah.
You remember that? That was I was training with Clive Burton, and Jimmy was his dad, who was in business with Dave Mackay. I had my 21st in 78, and Clive and Julian were invited, and they walked in, and they came into the lounge, and they said, "We brought a friend. Can you come in?" And I said, "Yeah, of course. Just should have walked in with you." He said, "No. He wanted you to ask him in. Go out the front door. It's Gilly.
Hey.
Come on in." And Gilly came to my 21st.
Brilliant.
Thoroughly nice guy. Thoroughly nice guy.
Right, guys, we're going to end the show on that good story. I'm going to play you out, and I'll see you. Oh no, and about remiss of me. I want to thank everyone, I want to thank all my guests for coming on. You know you are. I'm not going to name you. I want to thank everyone in the chat. I want to thank you for your likes, your comments. Please subscribe, give us a link, and post a comment. Yeah, we class ourselves as a mature and sensible group. It's been an excellent debate, diverse opinions, contrasting opinions. It's been purely subjective, but it's been a way a podcast should be. We are a discerning Spurs group, and we're going to continue in this vein, like while we do shows. So thanks again to everyone. You've been fantastic, and I'm going to play you out.